All right, we've connected to YouTube. Looks like it's waking up. YouTube is woken up. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning, Kurt, and hello to everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Making Turbo Pit Fighter. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Um, well, today we are. I was trying to do some house cleaning. We were also trying to finish up Do Magazine's number one. We still have to put the letters on the Turbo six pager, the latest Turbo six pager. And we still have to do the zine pages. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We have and we have some decisions to make on inside front cover. I wanted that to be the setup page for the casualties. No, how are we doing this? Yeah. Um, I think we were gonna make the inside front cover the setup page for the casualties.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. That is a true story.
So that means because I have this whole like text thing. Like, my name is Charvel Vore. I was kidnapped by the. I was I was holed up in a bathroom, and then dot dot dot, and then you see page one starts. But it might be tough fitting that all on there because it's a bunch of writing and explain stuff. So we might have to edit that down. Right now, I gotta move. Let's see. There's Landgraf Casualties, page 3.
You got my request for all the lettered pages for comic stories I want sent to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But there's one page that doesn't have any letters on it.
Now, how did that happen?
Um,
That's
it
crazy.
got mixed up. I have it on the white computer, but it's not on the other computer. So I'm just trying to move it over now, and it's frustrating because I can't. I'm just finding it now. Yeah, here we go. All right, it was time for Hellclaw to strike back. Let's move this from the Lexar drive to the Ken Casualties to print drive or folder. Now I can upload that for you. And
Thank you.
this one, uh, yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot. You know what's messed up? You make a lot of intermediate records of stuff. This is the page before letters. This is the page before inks. This is the page after inks. And now you have two
Yes,
separate.
yes.
So once you have the pages to print, you're all set basically because they have letters on them. All right. So now I can upload this, and I still have an old-fashioned FTP site.
Holy shit.
Well,
I used to love my FTP site. I used Coffee Cup. Remember Coffee Cup? Did you ever use that as a protocol, an
no, I
FTP
use
protocol? Use what?
Fetch.
Fetch. Okay, that was the other one. But I was a big Coffee Cup guy. God damn, those were the years.
So yeah, I'm just that's what I'm doing, a little housekeeping, a little uploading. But yeah, we have we're getting close to putting together these zine pages. I have this whole um, drawing I did. I might have done it too big, um, but it was like what I imagined the automaton might look like when the Duke was invading the Huberton HQ tower with all these other drones, and I had this whole scene mapped out in my head that there would be this siege on the tower, and it would be like really busy page and everything. So I think maybe I could put this really small on the Indicia page or on the inside back cover. No, I'm sorry, at the lead-in page for the Duke story. Um, and I have two of these actually because I was just kind of conceiving of these this like climactic last page where you can see all the script calls for the automaton to start like pummeling the building, and it causes the shielding to come off. Like there's like an outer shielding, and then the building has an inner core, which is actually a rocket ship, and it'll take off. But we don't know, but the reader doesn't know that yet. So that's a little spoiler for you right there. Um, and yeah, had an interesting week. Kurt, you're going to tell us all about your haul from the dollar.
Chud was good to us. It was, yeah. I got some. It's a pretty thick stack. Yeah, whenever we're ready. Also, just a reminder, Bat Merc has a Kickstarter for his Hell War comic. I did send him a link. He's gonna try to jump in. So if I see him in the green room, we're just gonna halt business, let him jump in and say hi, and give a heavy introduction to himself and his Kickstarter going on there. But yeah, I'm very excited about today.
Yeah. I also have the original art from Sebastian. I can show. I got it in the mail. I got it a little while ago, but haven't really mentioned it till now. And it's always fun to go side by side with the final original art submitted versus the script and see how the storytelling kind of adheres. I'm happy with the pages, but I haven't like reviewed the script in quite a while. So there might be some stuff. Obviously, we have to put the word balloons on, but sometimes there's some stuff that gets lost in storytelling. Like I was looking at one page and it was like, the final page, pitch blend is covered with quills sticking out of her and, all over her body as she valiantly, smashes the last robot. And there's no quills sticking out of her body. So I might have to just draw in the quills, or you could do it with Photoshop, or you could do it, right on the original art because I own the original art now. So, all that kind of stuff we have to go over at some point. But I can do a reveal. I think I sent you the pages digitally, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, but I can reveal them on here if we want.
Well, I still am. I'm going to be a curmudgeon and really say let's hold off until we kind of are leaning into using the pages, the story, because you got a lot to letter, and I would love to see you stay focused on getting the lettering done. I know you want to. I watched a bunch of big chunks on your 3 hour plus. Man, you were hot yesterday. You jumped on for an hour and 12 minutes on my Crom update to show off your 9-page Barbarian comic, which is awesome. And then you did a 3+ hour on Substack. So yeah, you're killing it with the live.
Was that 3 hours? Yeah, I got a lot done. I was drawing.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I penciled a lot of those Crom pages in a funny way. I was just kind of like dancing around from page to page, do a little here, do a little there.
Yeah,
and it was going really well.
Yeah, I said super impressed. Happy about the productivity and motivation. But at the same time, being the mean little boss man, just saying like, hey, let's not let's not bring anything else elemental into. I'm also worried it's going to confuse people, and if somebody actually likes what they're seeing and then they're expecting it in Doom Mags End of the World Anthology #1, and it's not there. It's just one of those semantic things. So, and we would love to get Sebastian on, do what we did with Alex Turbin.
Yeah. Right. Well, and we haven't heard his whole story, what he's up to, and what his plans are.
Yeah. Because the thing about my philosophy in getting people to collaborate, and without pay, let's say, just in that kind of idea is the literal promotional value. Back in the day, they used to say, oh, it'd be good PR if you did this free work for me. But here you actually get a presence on social media, YouTube, name dropping, SEO. And also if you're doing something on your own social media platforms and stuff, that's a really big amplification for people to get for you to get the attention, for people to recognize you. And if they like what they see, they start following you. So I'm a big proponent of that. I really do believe that if you're a creative nowadays and you have no social media whatsoever, even just one platform, Substack, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, you're doing it yourself a great injustice. Doesn't mean you have to post every day. Doesn't mean you have to be totally sucked up into it. I understand. But at the same time, nobody's going to do it for you. And if you think living by a page rate or living by page rates is going to do it for you as well, telling you too, most people look at your social media, if they're going to hire you, because they also want your people coming to you, being directed over to, what work you're working on, which is, what you're being commissioned for. So, I think it's a very good thing. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's also good to just go online and showcase all that when you actually have something to buy too.
This is very true as well.
The old call to action, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very powerful.
Right. So yeah, we have all that, and I also checked out a couple of movies yesterday, which I'll bring up.
Okay.
Another segment we could do is this, Kurt. I mentioned yesterday I have a power comic that I did. I don't know how old I was, but
yeah. You did bring that up.
But it's in this book, and I had, you remember design markers? There were like alcohol markers that came in like fine point and medium point, and like with a chisel tip and everything. And they were like a lot of money back then, like $1.50 or something. But
yes,
now they're like $4.50 a piece. Yeah. So was this the book? Oh no, this might have not been the right one. Okay, well it's downstairs. I have a comic run I did in a book like this, where it might be a little bit bigger book too, actually, like 5.5, 8.5. But every page is a panel, and you are not going to believe the topic that I was drawing when I was just a kid. You'll never guess.
Hip hop.
It's not a character I own, so that's a problem. Like as far as ever putting it out or whatever, but it's really fun example of, kid comics, amateur comics. And I can't remember exactly how old I was either, but I imagine I was like somewhere between like 15 and 18 or something, or 15 and 17. And maybe there's some clues inside the book, but the character that I drew, and I don't know, it might be like, I'm remembering like it's something like 40 pages of that, like 40 panels. So it goes on and on. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only like 30, but it's definitely more than 20. The character that I chose was Han Solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
You must have just
Well,
saw the movie.
it must have no, because it wasn't 77. It must have been like Empire Strikes Back
Ah,
or
yeah. Yeah.
Jedi or something.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that young because in 77 I was like 11. Um, so I have that to show on an episode, and I don't know, maybe I should like submit that to somebody or Power Comics or whatever. Um, yeah. So here I have. Oh, I see the problem. So I kind of set this up with the EPSs that I generated out of Quark, but I didn't grab your lettering. So I need to grab your lettering, and that's where we are right now. Also, you named your files O1, O2, O3, which is confusing because this is page 13, 14, 15, 16, etc. Um, but I figured it out.
You're
And
smart.
yeah, we're
You're
going
smart. You're a
to
smart guy. You're a smart guy.
smart ass. So,
Captain
yeah,
Captain Obvious.
so we're gonna make a layer here. All right, and now this is the difference between computer lettering and Kurt's lettering, and Kurt's lettering is a little bit bigger, which means I converted it at a nice large size. So we can bring that down first off. And yeah, this is what I'm working on here. I saw a movie last night. Remember that director that I was telling you about? His name is Sirio Santiago, and he's doing these like low budget B movies, Philippines movies and stuff. And there's I don't know, like 20 of them or something, that he's done over the years. The first one I saw, I loved it, and like it was so bad it was good. It was called um, Fly Me, I think, or Fly on Me, or something. It was all about stewardesses that they get attacked by kung fu guys, and it, the brief description. If you go on your TV and you do a search for the movie Fly Me by the director Sirio Santiago, it says stewardesses when stewardesses fight kung fu attackers, everybody wins. And so I saw that movie and I recommended it. But yesterday I saw a different one, and it was not as good. And I was dragged in by the title, which was Vampire Hookers. Um, but the movie ended up being, there were some scenes that were hilarious and really really good and campy and kind of like exactly what you're looking for, like low budget, campy, kitschy stuff. But these movies just have a lot of time with people getting in and out of cars, and just like walking down the street, or just inane dialogue. And then when the movie really gets rolling, there's a little bit of like horror and a little bit of nudity and a little bit of all this other kind of stuff. So um, you know, be warned that if you go watch Vampire Hookers from Sirio Santiago, you might not like it as good as Fly Me. But I'm working down the list of his movies because I have a feeling like some of them are really good. And like I said, Vampire Hookers had some very funny, interesting parts. For what I'm looking for is like low budget B movie camp flavor. But the commercials on Tubi are freaking outrageous, you know? And sometimes you really got to think, do I want to hang in there with this movie because not the movie it's bad enough as it is, but do I want to hang in through these commercials? Um, so that is my review, but I'll try to bring up here. This is the poster for Vampire Hookers. and the poster's always 10 times. But oh, you know who the main vampire was? The guy in white, big name.
Oh yeah. I know the movie you're talking about. Carradine.
Yeah, John Carradine.
Yep.
Right, and so it's Robert E. Waters presents. Oh, so close. Vampire Hookers, a Cosa Nueva production starring John Carradine and directed by Cirio H. Santiago.
And you
And
said you didn't like it?
no, it was a real slow mover at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
The first like 70% of it is a real slow mover. It's like these sailor guys are like drawn in by these alluring women, and then they have this like secret society underground. You don't know who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. It's all over the place. Carradine, he made it fun. Like all of his lines were interesting, but he only ends up being in like 10% of the whole thing. It's mostly these like no name guys. And here's a little more of the actual actresses. Um, it's super low budget, and all the same guys in all the Filipino movies. All the same actors.
Yeah.
Like that one guy. I think his name is like Al Diaz or something. He's always playing the security guard.
Yeah.
1978 Filipino American exploitation horror film, and not too much actual horror, not too much actual nudity, just really campy B movie. So
Goodness.
I saw that, and then last night after I got done with that, I had a busy day yesterday, and I was supposed to be working on the taxes, but I'll have to do that when we get off today. Um, I saw a movie that I liked last night, 2018, featuring our Pedro Pascal, who's like the biggest thing going in Hollywood nowadays,
Did you
right?
say hour? Did you say hour?
Well,
It's not mine.
Hollywood.
No, I think he's way overrated. He's way overrated.
Oh, he was good. I mean, he's not
He's
like a
way
hero,
he's
but
way overrated.
well, he was okay in this movie. He's like a bad guy turned good guy, and
Yeah. I've seen a lot about it. It looks super interesting. Low
yeah,
budget too. Low budget and did really, really well.
and yeah, it's a great example of a movie that does a lot with a very low budget,
Yeah.
and it had a very
Sci-fi on top of it.
yeah, and I'll give the setup. It's and I don't know what became of Sophie Thatcher, because this was 2018. She's got to be in her 20s by now, but she played like a 14-year-old girl, and I don't know how old she really was, but she was definitely a young girl, and it's about this kind of like desolate dad and daughter team that get stuck on this planet, and they're mining for this like valuable stones that grow out of the ground, and there's mercenaries, and there's like all these weird encounters on the planet, and really really good like tension and pretty decent acting, and like loyalties turn, and stuff like that, and so I recommend it. I did not hate this movie, and you really admire what they did with such a low budget, how they carried it off with such a low budget. Now there are some scenes where you see like these big spacecraft and everything, and those scenes aren't low budget. It's just that there's only a
No,
couple.
that's where the budget is.
Exactly right. I mean, yeah. There's some great CGI. Remember, this is 2018, so this isn't just like nowadays where you press a couple buttons. But it was good, and it really held my attention, and I would recommend it, as long as with the caveat that you're not going to see it's not a blockbuster, but it was an indie sci-fi film about this girl Sophie Thatcher. Now she went on to become an actress. I know she's in Yellow Jackets, and she was also in that great movie with oh man, when the two Mormon girls go into the house and what's his name there, the British guy is there. We spoke about this offline, but my memory is failing me right now. Yeah, remember the forget it. I'll never get it back. Anyway, she's got to be like 24, 25 now, maybe older, and so she's she's out there in all this Hollywood stuff. But I'll remember it. When the two Mormon girls go into the house and it ends up, they end up getting trapped. It's a House of Horrors with Hugh Grant. Remember that movie?
Nope.
No, all right. Well, I don't know if anybody's online listening, but the folks online are.
Somebody listening to me. Hello.
Wait, actually, I'll look it up. Hugh Grant, and I don't know if it's like a horror movie, but it's a suspense.
Psychological thriller.
Heretic. It's called Heretic.
Heretic.
Right. So she goes on to be in this movie, Heretic, and I like this movie too. It was a great suspenseful thriller, and it kind of gets weird at the end. It builds and builds and builds. But the best part about the movie for me was when Hugh Grant plays this kind of weird philosophical guy. He's the bad guy, but he's also like this weird philosophical guy, like the Unabomber, let's say, like a genius, And he has all this great stuff to say about the world of religions. And it makes the movie really, really interesting to watch because you're not sure where he's coming from until you realize that he wants, to capture everybody. So another night out watching some flicks. Another night on the couch, I should say. All right, so yeah, and why don't you talk about your week next, so I can catch up with some of this here.
Some of these what here?
You want to talk about your week?
Oh yeah. Let's just jump right into the score haul. I got to do some readjusting. My big thing was last Sunday I got permission to take off from work and went down to Havre de Grace, Maryland, and I got to adjust my table because it's at an angle and all the comic books will fall. Okay, there we go. And there's a show down there called Chud, Comic Haul Under $1. And good friend of the channel, myself included, been hanging out with him at comic shows. We've done SBX twice, some comic book shops down his way, like Atomic Books in Baltimore. Dan Snoke, the man from Rave Sensations on YouTube. So he said in the past, though, be warned. The boxes can get really, really picked over, and they do just bring the dregs. But that's not what happened. We didn't even get in to the main event. Now, this was at a Jewish community center, so it was their big kind of playroom auditorium. Oh wow! Hey, we're gonna let Bat Merc in, just so we can get a little hey hello from him, and we'll return to my Chud Hall. Bat Merc. Bat Merc.
Hey, what's going on, Kurt? How's it going?
Hey, good. We got you. Are we catching you on a work break?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, good. We're so happy that you're able to jump on, introduce yourself in the flesh, and give us a little promo on your Kickstarter, Hell War. So take us from the top. Take us from the top.
Yeah, my name's Matt Burke, aka Bat Merc, and I'm a comic book creator. And I got this new Kickstarter up right now called Hell War, and it's kind of a crazy format, but it's about this biker that's coming back from basically from his last day on the job, and he has to basically do one final mission for Elnora, and that's the goddess of Helheim. And if he doesn't complete this mission, he won't be freed from hell, and neither will his duties for her, and neither will his brother. The book's going to be in a weird format, though. It's going to look like a heavy metal album. It's 106 pages of black and white artwork. It's going to have, coffee stains in it. You're going to see it's going to look photocopied. Basically, it's going to look like the band made it themselves. It will be perfect bound, like something you'd find in the back of a record store in a back alley in Norway, circa 1990s or something like that. But it's heavily inspired by a lot of the metal scene in the 90s, underground comics from the 80s and 90s, but also books of the Incredible Hulk, Lobo, Thor. Definitely had to come in and try to do my own take on the Norse pantheon while not stepping on Kirby's or Simonson's shoes. But there's that's kind of the spiel. A lot of the character was kind of designed off of Pendergast, Robert Duvall's character in the movie Falling Down. In that movie, it's his last day on the job, and all this stuff just starts going wrong. And that's kind of what happens with Barrett Hellwar. It's his last day, and it's his last day of his saga, basically. And the book is the pencils, the pages are all done. Everything's lettered. It's with the editor right now. So I just have to get those edits back, maybe make a couple tweaks, and we should be having it good to go. Like the shipping date's November, but I plan on shipping before that. This will be the third campaign that I've fulfilled on. I've actually did 2 other books that I fulfilled early on. So.
I'm definitely a backer. So, and then just one more piece of clarification though. It's square in format, like an album cover, right?
Yeah, it's going to be just shy of 12 by 12. So.
Oh man, it's good. So cool. So cool.
All right. So let's take a step back. Matt, where are you from? Where are you out of?
Oh, I'm from LA. Oh, hold on one second. Sorry, guys.
No worries. Do what you got to do. Yeah, he's at work, so I just asked him to try to sneak away and jump on because that promote
a little hooky
stuff. Well, smoke break.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do a podcast.
Yeah, instead of a smoke break, you're gonna jump on and on a podcast and talk about comics, your comics. So. But Jake, you do see our chats blowing up with Saboteur Charlie, who also, I don't know, you haven't gotten your copy yet, right? But I just got my copy of Tommy's Meat Market, and we're going to set up a time to have him on for the next Indie Creator Exchange. And then Omar Glitch, I just started watching his YouTube Hangout podcast. So he has a comic called Glitch. So got a lively bunch, and the Merc himself is with us. So jumping back and forth, but
I see a lot of comments there. Don't worry, we'll get to them all. But right now we're going to try to do the little segment with Matt.
Just keep going through.
And folks, feel free to plug your own stuff in the comments. We definitely cross-pollinate, if nothing else.
And that's actually an awesome kind of description. It's like I think with the indies, I was saying this earlier on my right out of the gate rant about you having your own YouTube channel and we having ours. The cross-pollination thing is really where the amplification can happen in let's say getting attention.
Sorry, guys.
But getting attention from the right person. No problem, bro. No problem. Go ahead. Jake, just go ahead.
Yeah, Jake was asking where I was from. I'm from California. West Coast.
West Coast.
And can you have a second? We can go over a little bit of your history. So you grew up there, and did you go to school for art or anything, or are you self-taught? How did it all happen for you?
Yeah, I just was self-taught. I've been drawing since I was probably 3 or 4, and did it, up and through elementary, junior high, high school. Usually around like the beginning of high school, I think that's when I kind of took a dip from it. Stepped back, started playing music, started playing metal. Then probably I got back into it when I was around 20 years old. So probably like 23 years ago, I started getting back into it a little more. And then started getting really into publishing, self-publishing probably about since 2016. So now about 10 years now. Maybe 2015. It's been a while now though. And this is my second IP, I guess. I hate using that word, but the first one was a book called Butch Cleaver. And it's my gothic horror Western. I put out 2 graphic novels of that. And I spent a lot of time on that. And I kind of wanted to do something different, more personal kind of, and but yeah, that's a little bit.
And what was say again what the first publication was called?
The first it was called Butch Cleaver, and that's a gothic horror Western. It's about this brutal butcher who gets killed and he's brought back to life by a voodoo hex, and that hex gives him the power to weaponize bone on a molecular level. So yeah. I have those 2 books. I did two of those, and I actually try to keep everything in the same universe. So this Hell War book takes place in the 90s, and Butch Cleaver would be kind of set in the 1800s, but kind of a alternate reality of our American or our Earth, I guess, if you want to say.
Okay. And so you do the writing and the art and you do everything all just you?
Yeah.
So what would you say your art style was?
As far as art style, I guess it's always evolving, but I have a lot of favorites. Like when I first started growing up, I was really into Mort Drucker and Jack Davis. But as time started going forward, I started getting more influenced by different artists like Sam Keith, Todd McFarlane. Eventually finding out about Simon Bisley, Frank Frazetta, Bernie Wrightson. But at the gate, there was always How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, which was Buscema. And then later on, I'd pick up Cyber Sword of Conan, and now Buscema's, he's at like my top 10 right now, top 5 probably. But I'm always checking out new artists, getting new inspiration from different artists.
And do you use like traditional pen and ink, or do you use marker? How do you do it? You go pencil first and then you ink over it?
Yeah, I do pencil first and then ink. I'm just really into that. I do letters, like sound effects, traditional, most of them for the comics, but I'm doing those digitally now. I'm using Clip Studio on that. But I'm just a big proponent. I'm really into wild human organic art, So that's just, and most of my style is basically made up in the inking stage, about 90% of it. So I try to go really loose with the pencils.
Right. I'm looking at some of your art on Twitter right now. See a little like hot rod influence too there. Right, maybe a little like Rat Fink and
yeah, you know what? I had a couple cartoon mags growing up, and I actually did draw a couple of those. I really did dig that magazine, and I liked the cars in there. Those were always fun to draw. I drew them a couple times growing up. I might even, yeah, definitely.
So Hell War is going to be how many pages?
It's going to be 106 pages. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Substantial. And yeah, it's HELWAR. If people want to go, you can go on Kickstarter and Google it there, or you can just Google it on Google. Yeah, I'm looking at the feed here. I see the art style, really cool, kind of like kind of a traditional inking style. I would say, right?
Yeah. I just use like microns. I'm always trying new stuff though. White paint. I just used some white paint on this piece I did I'm doing a Crom story too on the side.
You just sent me a page yesterday. I was like, who's this for? Like,
oh my Lord. My Crom pencils, my blue pencils anyway.
Blue pencils were fun too. Like I don't really do that. I did 3 pages on Hell War with blue pencil just for fun. I think those like for action and anatomy type pages, those are really fun. So
Yeah, I really settled into doing blue pencils and then regular pencil over it, and I don't need an eraser. It's like you get a second chance. Apple, it's so great for me that working that way. I recommend it, but not everyone's different. There's a lot of people that they just erase and they do more pencils and they erase. I was reading about Crumb. He just went right to the page with ink. He was when he was doing a lot of his cartooning, and talk about drawing without a net. That's crazy.
Oh, 100%. And I know a guy named Dan Plagle, and he was telling me he's worked for a lot of different companies, and he would say that he would do like 10 pages a day, and he's good and he's fast. And I'm like, how do you? Well, what do you don't do thumbnails? He's like, no, man, like because 90% of the time the thumbnail I use I draw, and I'm like, you just go straight in like right on the Bristol, bro. And he's like, yeah, dude. I'm like, wow. And so when he told me that, that just kind of just that idea, like, huh, you could do that. I'm like, well, he's like, but I work a lot in fantasy and things like that most of the time.
Yeah.
And some of that you can do that if you visualize it quick and you're self editing as you're working. I think it's probable. Not for me, but I could see how it could be probable.
Yeah, I mean, some of the underground stuff was clearly just people going crazy freehand with pen, with ink and pen. So it's not as like there isn't a precedent for that. But when you're doing sequential pages, and you're telling a story, I don't know. I would think that you want to plan it and plan it and then execute it. So that's just how I work anyway. But who's to say what the rules are in art? That's anybody's guess.
Well, that's the best thing that's going on right now is that that's really being so much dismissed that there's a way to make a comic book. There's really only one way to make a comic book, and that's yours. And the investigation and Batmark right now is just totally laying it down, that way. It's like you start at one point and all of a sudden you see something else, you start grabbing from it. I think it's also just like one of the most amazing things about comics is just that interconnecting of like storytelling elements. Like, I really like the the speed lines in manga, or the black and white stuff out of Eerie comics. You just start picking everything because you've got to tell your story. It's another thing if you're being hired by somebody, but we know all that is just digital work up and around and passed around with Image and Marvel and DC.
Right. So, tell us about your publishing company. Is it just you, and you're sending it out to a printer at the end, or are you working with somebody? Is there a company name here, or is it how does that all work?
Yeah, it's just me, and I'm just sending it out to a printer. It's Rune Cutter Comics, and this will be the third book that I've done for myself, self-publishing.
Right.
And looking forward to. I might do the next one. I'm doing another book too. I'm working on the Crom book, and I'm also working on another Vampire Hunter book. So I'm doing that with my buddy. He's writing it. It's a character we've co-created, and I'm gonna see if he wants to put it out through his self or myself. Doesn't really matter. I kind of want to do it now that I think about it.
Right. Well, the collabs are great. It's when Kurt and I started working together, there's such a great value in holding each other accountable to that, not a deadline like, oh, we're gonna have this thing out by, but like a deadline like, okay, are you gonna have something for me to work on Saturday? And it's good to have something, someone to bounce ideas off. Two heads are better than one. Sometimes there is a little creative differences here and there, and
oh, there should be, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's all part of
Hopefully.
it.
Yeah, hopefully.
But it's like I don't have to tell you if you're in bands, you have to get along with others nicely. You have to play with others nicely, and you have to there's a little bit of luck and a little bit of like just fate, just matching the right people together. When you think about the great teams in comics, it's like the great teams in songwriting, right? Like Lennon McCarthy, Jagger Richards. You got Chris Claremont and John Byrne, right? So it's all it's all kind of like the same thing, just working with others and trying to find the right person to bring out the best in you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I learned a lot from that, and I would go at things a lot differently. It's actually made my let's say selective choosing of what I want to do as far as like working with other people, like on teams and in bands and projects and stuff like that. Usually like with stuff, there's always a driving force, right? But you got to leave room for the bass player, man. Sometimes he wants to write a bass line. Sometimes you need a drum solo, or you know what I mean. Like it's just you got to be more open minded, I think, and always there will be a driving force to it, like a certain degree, a little bit. But if you can try to bring everybody in to like contribute to the end result, the piece of art, I think you're all going to benefit greatly from it.
Yeah, you use people's strengths, and it's great when there's something about that. Somebody says like it's the 150% rule. Like sometimes people put 150% on the page instead of 100%, and it gets to be too much. When you're the penciler, you have to leave just a little bit for the inker to add, and same thing in music. If you were writing a song, you're not going to write every single part for every single instrument, so you got to see what the others are bringing to the table once they started playing it a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us. I would be remiss if I didn't ask. Tell us about your band or your musical pursuits.
Well, I haven't really been in a band for like probably 10 years. Yeah, it's just been me and my buddy Dave. We've been in a couple bands together, and the last like piece we wrote was Hell War. It's a song that's with this. If you back the book, you're gonna get it. Today, later on, I'll be shipping out the MP3 to all of our backers so they can have the song at least. Worst case scenario, the book doesn't get funded, at least they have a little something to bang their head to.
Nice.
And I try to do that with every comic I put out. I would try to put out a song with it, just because they kind of go together like peanut butter and jelly. So we're like a studio band now, but we used to play together all the time. We would jam in his living room, and I started up, just playing different styles of music, rock, reggae, eventually alternative metal, and then I just got into melodic death metal like for the last 20 some years. That's basically where.
Right.
Are you familiar with Steve McCardle, Vendetta comic?
So Kurt is asking if you're familiar with Steve McCardle. He does Crowbar 9, and what's his other comic called?
Vendetta.
Oh, Vendetta.
Oh, no, Vindicator. Excuse me. The Holy Vindicator, Vendetta.
Yeah, Vendetta, and
he might have jumped out. Oh, here he is. Sorry. Yeah, keep bouncing between the two. Here we go. You back? You back?
Sorry, guys.
Not at all. I was gonna say, are you familiar with Steve McCardle?
No,
Holy Vindicator.
No.
Crowbar. We're gonna have to send you links because and we had an interview with him. We actually met him at IC3 last year. Very similar, like metal band. And he sent us albums.
That's awesome.
When we were doing the indie exchange with him. So
that's cool.
Yeah, he was in a band called Skull Crusher, I think, and
nice.
He sent me the 12.
Steve's awesome.
And I just play the hell out of it.
Yeah, I still do.
His comics are really fun. It's kind of like a little Power Comics, a little Punisher like type of a character, but all these cool like all these cool
very
ideas.
80s, like very 80s indie.
Love it. Yeah. I love the Punisher too, and like Vendetta, that comic. Want to pick that up?
Just kind of like tough guy characters, and then he's got this team book too called Crowbar 9, which goes back to all the superhero teams, but very indie, all black and white, and he's another guy, self-taught and musician. I mean, Kurt and I are just so like there's so much crossover with music, and we've been talking about doing a special episode one day with all the different comic creators that are also in a band or also produce music or all. I mean, one guy we interviewed, he ended up being like a in-house art guy for a metal label, right? How cool is that?
Yeah, that was
That's pretty
D
cool.
Moses. That wasn't you talking about D Moses?
Right, right. And so like his day job is just doing these like killer posters and record covers and t-shirts and everything. It's
Yeah, Holy Mountain. Holy Mountain's the company.
yeah, just really, really fun. So at some point we got to do a special episode and we got to like just give a little sample of everybody's music, and then show their comics. I envision it as being a very popular episode. Like how many music guys are doing comics?
Right.
How many
Well, it's
comic
like
guys are doing music?
Right.
it's like a metal album, dude. You could do a comic off each because they're so like poetic or they have these big stories. Like a lot of times when I would write songs, because I would do the lyrics, I would write them like a comic, dude. They would have
That's
characters, and it could have been that way in that narrative. It's funny.
Yeah, and just last week we were talking about, I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about Verotic, and that was the label that was started by Glenn Danzig, from the Misfits,
Right.
from Danzig solo and everything, and I was holding up because I had a little haul of comics that I got in Boston. It was not that big, but I was holding up a comic, Kurt, from Black Mask, a publisher that I didn't recognize at all. And then Matt King reprimands me on Instagram. He was like, Jake, you don't know that that's owned by the guy from Bad Religion?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I didn't know that. So there's a lot, and then I think Michael Moorcock is another one. He was
With Lemmy
right. He was with Hawkwind, and he was doing his own stuff, right?
reading up on stage.
Yeah. A lot of great crossover there. So
Lemmy's a big influence on Hell War, by the way.
which one?
There's a lot of them. Definitely Lemmy.
Oh, Lemmy, yeah, I know. I'm trying to get my band to play a Lemmy cover from his first band. A lot of people don't know Lemmy, when he was like 16 years old, was in a he was a bass player in a band called the Rockin' Vickers in his like little English town that he's from. I don't know, he's like Birmingham or one of those hams. But
he was a roadie too, I think, for Hendrix, right?
What's that?
He was a roadie for Hendrix too, from what I've heard.
Yeah, he was a roadie for Hendrix, yeah. And he was in this band, and they had like some 45s out, and they did some Kinks covers like Dandy, but their CD is really worth tracking down. And there's one song that's just so much different from all the others because it's like a garage stomper, and I had never heard it before in my life. I just became so obsessed with it. So we started playing it as a cover in my band. It's called I Don't Need Your Kind. And if anybody wants to hear a great lost garage stomper with
nice
bass as a teenager, check out I Don't Need Your Kind by the Rockin' Vickers. Anyway, I'm trying to get my current band lineup to cover it again, but there's never enough time to cover all these fun songs that you want to do, is there?
Yeah, I've been trying to juggle that too. That's the dream. I'd like to have a band, at least jam like twice a month, maybe play like 3 or 4 shows a year. I think would be really fun. Just real, low stress,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my band. We do maybe like 5 shows a year, I would say. But I'd like to play more often, but it's just we're still breaking in our new drummer, and it's taking a while.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, he's a good guy. But he plays in a lot of bands, and then so you get confused playing arrangements and everything all the time. So Kurt likes to ask about like the business side of things, or the distasteful side of things, which is like promotion, getting out there.
Now, distasteful. Come on.
For me,
Well, that's just you. It's very
Yeah.
necessary. Very necessary.
Right. Well, and so everybody comes at it a little different. Some people are like, they do live on YouTube. Some people do, Instagram stories. Some people just do cons and just press the flash. So, what's your approach for promoting your stuff once it's done?
Once it's done, I'll probably just keep doing it on YouTube. Also, go on other shows a little bit. Not much of that. Probably primarily myself, and then if I can go to cons, I would love to. But definitely, I try to go wherever I can. Definitely, always trying to think outside the box too, like tattoo shops. Um, Also, like smoke shops.
Yeah,
um,
I've been telling Kurt
what is it?
about.
Car shows too. A lot of those cats, they're into that type of comic, or in comics in general.
You're
But
hearing
I'm
a
always
lot.
trying to think outside the box.
You're hearing a lot. I hear that a lot. People doing way better. Somebody did a show. Somebody did a comic book show one Saturday, and sold 2 comics. Went to a tattooing like fair the next
Yeah,
Saturday and sold out. Sold
exactly.
sold like 50 comics and was completely and literally was like did not have enough, was totally thinking an opposite,
Sold out.
like, oh, if I go to a comic book show I better bring 50 comics because everybody's going to want one, right?
Hmm.
But if you go to the people who actually want it, because you're reflecting the same identity, identifiers that are, with like metal and, rockabilly or, however it rolls, like it's like a dull then, and especially like if you go to something like a car show or a tattooing event, like what are you taking home? A car and a tattoo? Those are very
Exactly.
expensive things. But if some
Right.
cool guy or gal is sitting behind a table and they've got this $10 comic book, it's like, well, duh, I'm going to get this as like a keepsake taken home from this cool afternoon.
It's like you see an ocean of cars, and all of a sudden you see a book, it pops out, or like a bunch
Yeah,
of inks, and then poof,
yeah,
it pops out. Or you're walking
yeah,
through the record store and you see a bunch of death metal album covers, and then there's just one that's white. That one's gonna
yeah.
pop, dude. People are gonna pick it up on general principle.
Right,
Well,
right,
also,
yeah.
you're not competing with like every other, guy that's making.
Artists, comic artists. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So there's that, and then there's also like in-store signings. Those could go good sometimes. You know, I've
Right.
done. I've been pretty successful at some of those back in the day. So I'd like to do that again, but there's not as many shops now. I mean, there's a lot, but not as many. So
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm a school teacher, so I'm planning to travel around this summer a little bit, and
nice.
I'll see if I can get some tables at some cons, but I'm kind of like starting out as a nobody. I understand that, but just attending them is a start, and then maybe you get a table like in a small town or something like that, and just work from that. But I just want to get out because my daughters are grown now, and every time we have off, they're just going places and traveling, and I'm like, why am I stuck here all alone? I'm going.
Yeah, exactly. And you could give them like a card with your YouTube channel on it too. That's kind of like how we got to get out there now, part of the way now, because of the way the world works, I guess. But you
Yeah,
definitely got to have boots on the ground if you can. Like, have to do the cons. It's a must. Even though I never
yeah.
do, I know I need to.
And the cons, like comic store, we're all talking about comic stores are not that healthy nowadays. The numbers are down. It's kind of hard to run one because there's no distributor and all
Yeah,
business stuff.
definitely.
But the cons look like they're really healthy. I mean, I just got turned down for Kingston because they're sold out, and I got turned down for Fanfare because they're sold out. And I'm like, I'm looking at tables somewhere, and it looks like all these places are all sold out. So good for them.
Yeah, I had thought about like, what if you got like with like local, like, I don't know how it is over on the East Coast, but where I'm at, we have tons of food trucks, and I'm
Yeah.
just thinking like maybe if you get in touch with like a city and like rent out a parking lot and have a bunch of food trucks, and maybe during like an afternoon and bring out some tables, dude, and you could have a little con out like a parking lot, with some artists local, or surrounding cities. That's one thing. There's also like farmers markets where I'm out here.
Yeah.
Or out here, and they have a lot of like art booths and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be hard to just throw a comic booth in there. Again, thinking outside it, the box, people stop by like, oh, comics, what's that? You know, another thing to think about.
They do well. Every time there's a street fair, there's always somebody, you know, that's got
Yeah.
comics and records and everything. They seem like they do okay. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to promote. What you were saying about all of these kind of paraphernalia shops that are all coming out now, like, you know, it's amazing to me because in the 60s and the 70s, that's who used to distribute all the original underground comics.
Exactly.
And now there's like a resurgence of these shops, except now they're actually selling, you know, like cannabis legally, and
Yeah.
and the interiors of these stores are just so boring. They're just like empty with glass cases. They should be having like psychedelic posters on the wall and all this.
Yeah, man. Very corpo. They need a
Yeah.
couple spinners in there, a couple black lights, a couple lava lamps too, just to kind of spice it up a little, you know?
Well, that's what I think. I think a good entrepreneurial comic person who's just making like these one-on-one consignment deals with these shops, you need to bring them a rack, right? Because once you have the rack, like here's the whole rack, just stand it right there, and here the comics go in here, and I'll pick it up when we're done, and But I think if you give them the rack, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge spinner rack, but it it's just somewhere to put your comic, like a point of purchase display, right?
Yeah, and if you could get like maybe like a book that you have a floppy, you could print maybe a good amount of them to where you could just have them in there and just kind of get your book out there. Like I think it would be cool, you know, coming up in the game like a newer cat, maybe just making a bunch of books and kind of selling them really cheap, get them in a lot of stores if you had that, I guess the room to put them in places and whatnot. I think it would have been a good way to do it. Kind of like people putting their books in Dollar Tree, stuff like that. But just, having them out there,
Yeah, I would not forego any suggestion at this point, because you never know. Like some of these stores are like chains, right? And they want to try to like make it seem like they're more local, you know.
Right.
If you have hey, there's some local comic makers, or or this is like local honey from the apiary, whatever it is, they might try and like be like that hometown feeling that we don't have anymore, right? Everything's a franchise, everything's a mall. So
yeah, they're all closing down, man. I think I got like the second oldest mall in the country where I live, and they're closing it down. They're going to build condos in it, and it's wild.
Yeah, I live by the Palisades Mall, and they just sold it, and God only knows what's going to happen now. But
I think they're all going that way, like pretty much.
Yeah, the one up the road from me that was just announced yesterday. So, yeah.
See, yep, yeah. So here it's like I'm in Long Beach, so it's like all over Long Beach, all over LA, Orange County. They're doing the same thing.
Oh, are you part of that Long Beach online thing that they have? There's like a Discord. Do you know about that?
Oh yeah, with Jason Lego.
Right. Because
do you know Jason Lego, Matt?
No, I've never heard of him.
Gonna have to hook you up with him, man. And he's in Long Beach. He goes, they have a Long Beach once a month, kind of like meet, greet, draw, and drink kind of thing. Let me
sick.
I just shared the Steve McCardle link with you. Let me grab Jason's.
Very nice.
Yeah, I love Jason's stuff. He's got some new stuff coming out.
Happened to be in Long Beach. That's what I thought of you. I think it's weekly. It's just like an online drink and draw on Discord.
Well, there is a Discord, but he did say he's Skull Dude Joe is his Instagram. But let me send this to you.
Skull Dude Joe.
What's going on here? Come on.
So, Matt, who's
it's a good time right now, though. I think we're in an upswing right now with art. It's a new renaissance for comics, indie comics. I can feel it, and a lot of multitude of other ways too. There's a big middle finger going to things. I can just feel it.
Well, I just watched this Bloomberg report last night. 25 minutes of just statistics on the crushing blow that has basically decimated Hollywood. and the exodus of people moving out of Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
And and then the last 5 minutes was the most cheeriest part of the 25-inch, which was like, but indie movies, and then they just start going through all of these, A24 and European and Japanese and Korean, and they're just like independent, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so and then they're the same people they were interviewing were like, yeah, if we could just stop making people still living in LA, doing all the work, the engineers, the sound, the grip, the studio, all that sound stages and all that kind of stuff. They all were quoting the same thing. It was just like, yeah, if these big, large corporations could just get their heads out of their money grubbing asses, which is not going to happen, and come back down to earth and say, hey, look, we've got all these people. They're all experts in the industry. Let's just reset, instead of $1.5 billion making a movie budget. Let's go back to the 100 million, or the 50 million, dude. Or, the best thing about 70s, right before you popped on, Jake was talking about zombie hookers, which was probably made for $35,000 in Indonesia, you know what I mean? Or Thailand or whatever. It's but people are still wanting to see them. People
or even the sci-fi movie I saw, the sci-fi movie I saw was pretty low budget indie too. Prospect.
Yeah.
So, have you guys seen Conquest?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. You just
so good
on your YouTube. You just did a review of that, right?
Yeah.
You weren't hyping it up. Previous episodes, you're like, oh guys, I'm gonna be talking about Conquest. You haven't seen it. You're so right, dude. And Fault.
Don't know.
It's just so great, man.
Mind blown.
It's great.
So Kurt, usually I know you like to keep things moving along. Usually we have a I guess the last segment is the guest.
Well, that's for the Indie Exchange. The last question, which we're already into right now, is the future of comics. And it is Matt just said it. It's indie. It's so obvious, and it's across the board. But Matt, do you have anything else to share just about, or I also like that caveat the question with do you have any wishes, a wish list of how you would like to see the comic book industry forming over the next couple of years or so?
I wish keep the LCSs in business, but they need to bring in more indie books. It should be 80% indie. I know it's not right, but I think if they're going to want to survive, people are getting tired of the big two's movies and their books. They're just very stale, and very copy and paste. Copy and paste the movies. Copy and paste the photo assets. It's safe. There's no heart behind it. There's no balls. There's no guts.
Nope.
So that's the way I feel. But at the same time, it's we don't even really I don't know. Indies are going to be around. They're never going to go anywhere. After we're dead and gone, indie comics will always be around. People are always going to want to have sequential stories drawn, just like they were drawn on caves.
Right.
It's not going to go anywhere. So I'm actually just really happy, and now we have these online platforms where we can kind of talk about our books. We can go on channels. I go on your channel, you go on mine. I think that's the type of thing. And everyone has their own business or book, and they do their thing. And and we're just here to have fun and tell stories. That's the way I look at it, and promote books and kind of build the scene up.
There's something I need to add, because I'm a full-time teacher, and that's a busy job. And so there's a lot of art I'm not making, in my lifetime. I'm almost 20 years teaching now. I'm 18. This is my 18th year. And this isn't just me complaining. This is the entire, I guess, industry of comic book, talent that has day jobs. And we're not creating what we could be creating, you know, and it's not like that in other countries necessarily. So,
True
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
so, you know, that's kind of like what I would really like to see is like some kind of like a marketplace where you know, smaller creators, indie creators could make a living at least a little bit more, you know, than they are now. Like maybe not full time, but more full time. And
Right.
you know, and like that's the ecosystem they have in Europe and in South America, and you know, and obviously in Asia, in Japan. So you know, that's what I really like to see, and you know, I'm just hopeful one day that you know we have these gatekeepers, you know, that are just like realize it's in their interest to let every little person, you know, just start monetizing somehow instead of just keeping it, you know, only the bigs, and you know, you have to have a credit card, and you have to have this, and you have to have that. It's such bullshit because the technology is really there right now for micropayment, you know, and tip jar, buy me a cup of coffee, that kind of those kind of platforms, right?
Yeah.
So think about something like Kickstarter, right? You have to get accepted. There's a lot of AI slop on there that you're competing with, you know, and it's just like you know, they're like this middleman that's in between you and your customers.
Well, that's one thing too. I really like what you guys and Kurt are doing too with your website, you know, and getting people to sign up for like the anthologies, you know. Just feels like a real community. It's
Yes.
awesome, you know.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really big
that's
on that, you know. I'm thinking, you know, and I know I got a couple of other homies that are doing similar things. They're launching on their own sites and stuff like that, you know. And I like giving more of the money to the creator too, rather than having to pay this corpo the money, you know. And it just kind of goes back into the artists and the art to the writers. And
are you are you up on what Power Pulp is doing? Power Pulp Comics? Do you know about that?
yeah, I've a little bit. It's a group of individuals that are basically coming together and picking out certain titles that they like to showcase, and they're selling them on their web store, if I'm not mistaken, if that's correct.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually pretty basic. They're just like, you know, combining resources for you know, people could just order it in a one-stop shop, and you know, and they have a pretty good eye for the stuff that they're doing. They just added a pretty big name. I forget who it was, but they you know, they're just getting off the ground, and you know, it's what all the indie creators should be doing, I think, is you know, joining in with similar folks, and you know, because shipping is really the killer now. If you want to
Yeah,
order a
man,
book
it's
online,
wild.
you're gonna get more shipping than you are paying for the comic.
Yeah, I was working on the shipping for the Kickstarter for Hell War, and I'm looking at $50 to $80, you know. And some guy was in like Saudi Arabia wanted one, I think, and I couldn't do it. I'm like, I got the digital for 13, and I'm not a fan of digital either. I mean, I know but I have to because of shipping, you know. I really want
Yeah,
people to experience things that way through the medium, like
yeah.
tangible. But I had no choice. I want people to read the story. I want people to love it. I want people to hate it. I wanted to check it out, you know. And I got the first 13 pages of the book up on the site, guys, too. I forgot to tell you that. So you guys can kind of test ride Hell War.
Oh, you're giving away a free kind of like a little sample for people that want to browse.
Oh yeah, it's right on the main page. You just click on the link and it'll take you to the drive, and it's the first 13 pages of the book. He's in Death Valley, and well, I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, he's on the hunt. He's on one of his last missions, and he has to go toe to toe with the Death Valley Drogger, and
Right.
it's pretty brutal. So there's a lot of metal isms in there and homages in the first part of the book, and it has like an Army of Darkness vibe. The whole book, you know, it's not a heady book. It's not pretentious. It's just 20 to 40
Good.
minutes of entertainment, you know.
Good. Yes. Yes. It's exactly what I was going to say. It's like I would if I gave you if you would accept one piece of feedback, Matt, on your promoing, you know, and giving things away, which is completely generous. But I think anybody, you know, it was myself included, with your work, sees your work it's a boing kind of moment.
Nice.
It's like, it's just like I'm in. Like, where's the who takes the money for the ticket here? Like, come on, and I wouldn't worry about it as much as, like, one of the realities too that we need to really face is the economy itself is strangling a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
And the strangulation comes into, like, should I buy a sandwich to feed myself or a Turbo Pit Fighter comic or a Crom comic? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of, like, it's like, no, feed yourselves, things will improve,
Right.
and when that time comes around. But making stuff, and keeping it out there, however it goes about, like put it up as a Kickstarter, can Crom sell 100 copies, without Kickstarter, or, sitting on YouTube for 3 hours on every Sunday, pointing people to pick up a copy of a Turbo Teaser and stuff. So, but I also want to add, like, you were the first person to contact me for Crom as an explanation for me going on and on about the manga model, which is, it's something very basic that I'm taking on, which is, make your best work in very small pieces, like chunks
100%.
of story,
Yeah.
And if it takes you a year to put, 8 or 9 pages out, and you get it published in an anthology like Crom, then at the end of, like, said, I don't know, 3 years, you'll have a comic. But you've also have built and entrenched yourself in a community that,
exactly.
Like, I still think that's a more focal model of business, let's say, or marketing, than hoping change is going to come from above and descend upon us.
Exactly.
There's a website publisher. It's called Living the Line. It's Carson and Mike, publishers, artists. They just did a roundtable with Jim Rugg, Chris Anderson, which is from Power Pulp, and then I'm trying to visualize his name, but an indie, a zine a zine promoter, distributor guy, something English. But man, they do over an hour talk about distribution, and I will spoil the end of it, but it's really great to hear Jim Rugg on this rant, which should be a claim. You got to work on yourself. Don't wait around and hope that somebody is going to make it easy for you, that some kind of thing is going to come up and it's just, you could just put your wheels on that track. We have come to an intersection in the world where it's all about self-improvement. And that's what we need to really need to get together and work with each other, is to basically, support, like, hey man, what are you working on? What do you need? Is there any, and even if it's just like we're doing right now, which I didn't think we'd get this far, Matt, but even having you come on for maybe 5-10 minutes would have just been awesome, just to promote the Kickstarter, get to know you on voice to voice kind of thing, and go from there. But
if you guys ever want to come on my channel, just let me know, man. We'll set something up too,
Awesome. Thank you. But we're going to let you get going, because I think you're still at work, and we don't want you to think. And of course, Jake and I have got to get back to work. But is there anything else that you want to say? I put the Kickstarter link in the chat. I'll do my best to put it in the thing. But anybody, doing what they do, which is the listening to us, Jake and I, in the background with our guest Matt. This is the 15th of March, 2026, and there's an amazing Kickstarter out there. And if it's after that time, there's an amazing book out there and an artist to be supported. But I just want to thank you, Matt. But go ahead and do your outro, if you will.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me on. Hope you guys have a happy and safe Patty's Day coming up. And if you guys can, go check out the first 13 pages of Hell War. Hopefully you like it or hate it, and you definitely get entertained by it. It's on the Kickstarter. And I thank you guys for letting me speak on it a little bit, and hanging out with you was a blast.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Take care.
Definitely be in touch, man.
Absolutely. See you guys.
All right. See you, Matt.
Another musician. What did I say?
You love.
Yeah, I think Alex Turbin wanted to do like a little segment on music, but he asked me to like come on his pod during the week, and I was like, I gotta work, so we're gonna try and see when I have a break. I'll do it, but yeah, I could just talk music with these guys all day long, and
Yeah.
you know, music is so important because it keeps comic artists going when you're working or when you're, you know, just thinking about bands, lyrics, inspiration. You know, you're feeling low, you can blast some metal or whatever your favorite music is, and get a pick me up. Somebody said it's like the closest thing we have to mysticism is like, putting on music and being able to change the way you feel.
Yeah. No, it's a
It was
really.
Lenny Kaye that said that. What is this?
Wow.
What is this magic?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I do this a lot. If I'm moody, I'll go and just listen, like watch old videos, music videos, basically. And a lot of times it's the same. It'll start with, maybe I don't know, 5 or 6 bands that I really like, and of course they have their 80s and 90s videos and stuff. But I could spend like 3 hours just watching old kind of like MTV style videos and listening to the music and just like being taken away from maybe feeling a little too solemn or trodden down or just negative kind of things and stuff, and it just like revitalizes me. And then the suggestion of other videos that come up of like A, songs you haven't heard in a long time or seen the video, or B, like, what the hell is that? Let me check that out. And you're like, oh crap, that is so good. Like, who are these guys or gals and stuff? It's just, yeah, I mean, art, it's being so hammered out there now. I mean, I even through like the mass media, with this whole AI thing, man, it's all about creativity and the human experience and feeling. Just this whole computer technology, AI thing, they're just not even in that. They're not even in the arena. They're not even the game. There's nowhere near it. It's just nowhere near it. Like us, it's not taking anything from us. It's just going to help amplify,
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of backlash right now about AI in education, and
I bet.
there's a lot of backlash right now in AI in politics and military, and what it's going to be doing to society. But it's not stopping anything, right? There's no guidelines, there's no regulation, there's no nothing. It's just all, we are hearing people like sounding the warning bells. That's all we're hearing, but we're not hearing anything being done about it at all. So it is worried. I'm very worried because this is something really profoundly that's changing stuff every day. I bookmark some things sometimes to discuss. Like I have do MAGS Twitter, and sometimes like I see something on there, and I just kind of note it for discussion. And it could be robotics or it could be AI. Here's something I flagged. Skynet update. The problem isn't just AI acting on its own. It's humans using mass automated agents to overwhelm systems and capacities for fun and profit. And here I was retweeting. I was quote tweeting this new study out from Stanford and Harvard, the most unsettling AI paper of the year. It's called Agents of Chaos, and it proves that when autonomous AI agents are placed in open competitive environments, They don't just optimize for performance, they naturally drift towards manipulation, collusion, and strategic sabotage, a massive systems level warning, etc., etc. It just goes on from there. But, like, if the if the computers are training on humans, and they're saying, all right, this is right, this is wrong, and because this is what humans do, right, and this is what humans pursue, and these are the priorities, well, then they're going to have all the wrong priorities because the humans all have the wrong priorities, and we don't have anybody.
Did you just say the humans have all the wrong priorities?
Yes,
That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. It just it doesn't register with me that humans have all the wrong priorities. Like, what are we prioritizing?
money, control.
No. Hold on. No.
Power.
What would now? Let me sidebar you with another topic, and it's ultimately a question I've been meditating and pondering about. Define humanity.
Humanity. Well, there's humankind, which is like, the entirety of human existence. The people that are alive today, plus the past and present. But there's also, the idea of the humanities, which is like, you know, pursuing a greater good and and like an optimistic future, for children to live in a sustainable planet with an economy that helps the majority and all that kind of, like, they call it humanism, or they call it like the humanities in arts and sciences. So, there's a lot of different interpretations to a word, that could have a lot of different contexts.
So humanity refers to the collective human race originating in Africa roughly 200 to 300,000 years ago. So when we use this term, like, I see words thrown around in such irresponsible ways that we're doing it. The humans are using these words in these just like tragic, doom and gloom kind of like descriptors, right? But like, I saw something and I just had to put it out of my mind because the egregious way that they kept using the word humanity was completely contradictory to me about being human. And at the end of every day and the beginning of the next day, that's all we are. We're collectively in a society, but when we're when we're dealing with ourselves, we are dealing with our humanity within society. So when you make a statement like like what you said, and it pops up for me, it sounds so empty, and I'm not railing against it, in any other way to say, like, we can feel, despair. Like I was saying, like last night, I was feeling a bit dark and gloomy and pointless, borderline, it's that kind of like existential to nihilist kind of feelings and stuff. But I listened to a bunch of music from the 80s and 90s and see some wild videos, and all of a sudden, some things start snapping in about, what I can do, what I can contribute as an individual. So it's challenging. I'm not going to say it's not challenging right now, but I really do believe that the key right now is to not allow yourself to be overwhelmed. It's like not necessary, so just to encourage.
I could see both ways. Like, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. You could be a pessimist, you could be an optimist, you could be a nihilist, you could be all these things. But the concreteness of what's happening in AI is really just moving and changing things.
Yeah.
It's really shifting things around, and the balance of power and the balance of influence and the balance of attention and people's minds and everything. And there's all these books being written, and there's all these, like, podcasts and everything about how it's good or how it's bad. And the consensus seems to be like there's a lot of real risk here, and the the at the end of the day, there's actually nothing happening because
Right.
of just the way that politics works and lawmakers and everything. I mean, in schools, you can have an AI tool like Google Drive, believe it or not, is just an AI tool. They can give you so many little entry points into their Google Gemini, and they can give you so many answers to questions and search results, and just buttons that you see, just a landing page that it really does control a lot of what people believe and what people see, and for good or for ill. Google has obviously done a lot of good, but it goes both ways. So, what I was trying to say was that AI is training on all of this, and you might have heard that Amazon laid off 70,000 workers the other day. This was workers that the AI was training on what they were doing so that they could get rid of them. So that's bad for the economy. Those people are going to have to try and land somewhere and do something else now. Computer science majors are finding it really hard. Like unemployment rate is like 30% for people coming out of school with a computer science degree. Maybe that's because the jobs that they would have taken in the past are really not as necessary as the other 70% of the jobs. And some stuff that can be automated, they didn't protect themselves by making sure that they were doing something that's irreplaceable. But here we are. This is where the rubber hits the roads, and we're going to be seeing everything from truck drivers to cab drivers to all kinds of, like, even bus drivers and everything, all going away. And those people are going to have to do something else. And the question for schools is, what are those people going to do? And we have to retrain and rethink and kind of reformulate where we're going. When we're trying to train kids to support themselves in the future, because otherwise they're just going to be begging for handouts. And that's not a good system, obviously. So, as an art teacher, I always try to tell kids, go to an art school. The arts is something that computers can't do. You're irreplaceable. If you're in the creative, I mean, they might steal what you're doing, but they're going to constantly keep needing, you know, new art and new, writing and new, creativity. TV is always going to need a new show, and movies are always going to need a new pitch. So, maybe that's something that you can do if you're, if you're a kid and you're interested in creative stuff. Maybe you can go in that direction, as opposed to like, oh, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. My dad does construction, and my mom is a secretary. Like those kind of jobs are really, in the crosshairs as as this new future is being built out. And we're seeing it every day. I see something that was sci-fi that's now in reality. And we talk about that all the time here. Here's something a little bit on the depressing side, or a little bit on the negative side, but I reposted this. It says that a lawsuit called Bart versus Anthropic showed. So somebody's suing the big AI company Anthropic because they're saying like, hey, you're stealing all of the work of artists that create stuff, and you're stealing all the work of workers. You're stealing all the work. You're like, how do you fix a faucet? Well, a plumber might do that, but if AI is using that as a language model, they just took that plumber's work and they just monetized it for themselves without giving any credit or compensation to the plumber, right? So it could be any job in any field that the AI is training on to replace humans. And somebody's suing it. There's a case called Bart's versus Anthropic. And in court cases, there's something called discovery, where both sides have to produce
Yeah.
documents, right?
Yep.
And so the discovery in this case showed that, and this was just made public, so I retweeted it out. Unsealed documents from Bart's v. Anthropic showed this internal essay made in 2021 by Anthropic's CEO, and it shows proof that Anthropic knew of the importance and the cost of original works by original creators. They discussed a payment process where they could train their models and compensate the creators. And between 2021 and when they went live, without any compensation or without any recognition, that idea was just thrown away. But that's why discovery is so important, because it acknowledges that they knew the value of it, they discussed the value of it, they considered compensation for the value of it, and then they decided against it. So here we are. And so, the big question is, what happens next? Do people ever get that compensation, or is it just like they're just going to steal it all, and that's the way it goes from here on out? And I don't have
there's nothing's
nothing's going to happen.
forever. No, nothing's forever. Nothing. That's the one thing everybody needs to be rest assured of, and I think it should it should also help people deal with the impending doom feeling theory. In that what we're experiencing now, we're not going to be experiencing 2 months from now. We're going to be experiencing something else. So the greatest fear in the world for humanity is change. Nobody likes it except me. I love change because change breeds opportunity. So my biggest thing is I've been tracking AI for over 3 years now. When it first started appearing on my feeds on YouTube, this whole automation and everything it was trying to basically promote itself as, and also, slowly leak out and go here and go there and stuff. All the bells and whistles went off in my brain because I was there when the internet came around in 95, and I had my own website, and I worked for a local host, web host called Dell.net, and it was Dellnet.com, and lost that job because Comcast bought them out. Like Comcast was buying everybody out. Then, I still go along, and I'm still building websites and making comic books and doing all types of art, as a freelance artist and stuff. And then this guy from New York, says, hey, we should get into this Flash thing, this Flash animation. Oh, I don't know. No, we got to do it. Okay, so you and I get into Flash animation. And I made the biggest mistake in my life in 2001. And it wasn't leaving web design as a whole to go back to doing comic books and fantasy art. It was, and my sole reason was this: I didn't want to do action scripting or what was called DHTML, dynamic HTML. I just didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. And because I'm at 30 years old, 31 years old, and I still was on the edge of partying and all this kind of stuff. So when I saw this thing coming around the corner 3 years ago, AI, artificial intelligence, and all these kinds of things, I perked up immediately and have been tracking its development for over 3 years. And I'm going to say, I'm not impressed. I am not impressed yet. There, all of this that is being placed out there about possible this and possible that, yes, it's true. But the thing I'm still most excited about is that I can move in and around all of this change and settle into a place where I'm going to be happy. I can be profitable. I can be connecting. I could connect with others, so on and so forth. So I still think what you take is a higher road of oh my gosh, the sky is falling, and what are we supposed to do? And as what we also say, there's this whole science fiction level that we both were brought up on, and we lean into. But all I want to say is get comfortable with change. Anybody out there, just start getting comfortable with change, because we've got a shit ton of it coming. And if you resist change, change just steamrolls you.
Right, and so that change, what we've been kind of like reporting here is, autonomous weapons, and we're seeing Anthropic being used now for war and being picked targets, and sift through chatter, like high level confidential, bugs in other countries. They're trying to see who's going to be planning attacks and all that. And I think it's all great if if there's a human that's deciding, all right, we're gonna knock down some people's doors now and raid them. But if a computer is deciding that, that's where we have trouble, and that's where the other lawsuit between Anthropic and the Department of War is working its way through the courts right now, because the the administration wants the ability for this all to be automated. They just want to go after, people. They want robots to go after people and make, these kind of determinations of who is and isn't reaching the thresholds of action, and in some cases that action is killing. And we're seeing that in the theater of war right now. So, it really, really just mind-boggling importance of the discussion and debate that are going on right now. And then you have like something a little more pedestrian, like is AI making decisions about what your child is learning in school, what programs they're going to see, all those kind of things. The AI companies would love to get those contracts, because when you multiply every child in school times whatever their fee is, they become more and more and more and more rich. So, and there's a lot of products that we're seeing now that are being offered that are AI, and sometimes I look into it myself. There's on GitHub all these free tools that people are releasing of these agentic things that'll, automate your whole flow, and there's vibe coding now, which means like, you can write apps just with like regular text prompts rather than needing to know any coding. And a really good article about that in New York Magazine recently. And there's definitely change happening at a very rapid pace, because AI is able to train itself. Right? They say, like, it's called generative AI because it does something, and then you may or may not get feedback, but the AI can give itself its own feedback, right? Because it's already trained on, like, all right, we're gonna do this a million times, and then we're going, but here's what our overriding priorities are. This is what we're looking for, right? And so a really important thing with AI is human feedback. And if the humans are not in the loop, then you lose that human touch. And because AI can, otherwise AI will just default and decide for itself. Okay, we're going to go in this direction, and then by the time a human sees it, it's like, oh no, what are they doing? Like, they're bribing CEOs because they found out they had an affair. You know, so there's plenty to report on, and I try to stay updated, because I'm both scared, but at the same time I'm using it and seeing what's possible, and what's actually efficient, and what's actually you know potential for improving people's lives. I one thing I'm really scared at is the companionship part of it, because I don't think AI should be replacing human companionship. but that's one of the areas where they're most investing, right? Is to replace human companionship, especially with kids. And I'm like, what are we doing as parents? Allowing us. They say that more than half of the teenagers are talking regularly with AI agents. What are we doing? Go out, touch grass. Hello. And parents, like, I know you want some peace and quiet, and the kid just shuts up or they go in their room, but it's not that simple, you know. Back in the old days, they were doing drugs and listening to Ozzy Osbourne. Nowadays, they're falling in love with a chat bot that looks like an anime elf, So I don't know, be involved. You you remember that you have kids at some point every 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? But yeah, on and on it goes. This is going to be for a long time with AI now, living with AI and adjusting for life with AI, for sure.
And I'd like to go back to my Chud Haul, my comics that I got from. I'm not going to go through. Like, I'm not going to show. I'm going to show all the comics that I got, which is 40 of them for less than $40. I made the grand mistake, which was probably a good thing, but I just went to the ATM before I jumped on the road to get down there and got $20 bills, because that's what the ATM spits out on a Sunday morning. There's nobody in the bank to give me bucks, dollars and stuff. So, and I wasn't like, I could have thrown a 10th comic in there, but I was like pulling dregs already at 9, but I was kind of emotionally attached to those books. So then I just, handed him a 20 and he handed it back to me and he goes, "You got a 5? I'll just take the 5 because I want to keep the change." So I got one of those. So I got 9 comics for 5, but everything else was $1. Right. And as I said, we really did well, although Dan's really good, and so we had to break apart because we are just way too connected in similarity to tastes. And so he started pulling all these magazines and comics out, like literally within the first minute we were there. And so we would kind of like circle back and kind of just see how each other's doing and everything. But we only did it for 2 hours. So we were there from 10 to 12. And I hope he does his, he has some time to get, at least show off the books that he got, because he got some sweet ones. Now, he also handed me some books that he knew I liked, and I did the same for him. So we weren't partnering. But it came up many times where we were like, "Oh boy, Jake."
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to want to spend the 10 to 3 time. You're going to be there from 10 to 3. So, because we did not go through all the boxes. I think by the time 11 o'clock came down, and I looked at my shoes for some reason because I kicked something, some of these tables had boxes underneath them. Oh, so boy. you could do some damage. But one of the biggest things I just kept finding and picking up were not only Cheval Noir, the Dark Horse.
I got a bunch of those.
I there's so many great stories in here, but the biggest thing is it doesn't matter because the black and white comics that you're going to find there, Eastern, Western, is just amazing. Dark Horse Presents, this is up in the 80s. Yeah, it was like an 85, 86. Still, not only art, but the black and white thing, but the stories too. So short anthology stuff. So picked up every time I saw one. A couple of them were thrown my way by Dan. So thank you, Dan. So I just got, a whole bunch of them. I think maybe like 8 or 9 or something, 10 or 12.
So those are like 8 pages inside or something.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're gonna get, like, for instance, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories in here. So 1 to 11, a 10 pager, 11 to 17, 7 pager, 7 to 19, 2 pager, another 2 pager, and they're all in pieces, 4 of 4, 9 of 9. This was really, but, like, I mean, come on. Like, how do you not want this? Like, just for the quote unquote referencing, like,
Yeah,
you know,
I watched that video you were talking about where the Matt TTT was talking about the
yeah,
origins of Dark Horse and the
yeah,
Richardson guy.
yeah,
Yeah, so I did catch up on that, and he was just like painting it like what a shame that they're letting this guy go and they're moving him out of the boardroom because of private equity and stuff.
yeah,
So pretty eye opening
yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, stay connected to Matt TTTT's because that format he's using, which is kind of like he's experimenting right now. I think it's perfect because he's really able to sort of, like, because he's an amazing researcher, and he's double triple checking himself, and he even gets little interviews in there. So I mean, it just wasn't a like, let's say, an opinionated hit piece. I mean, it was schooling.
Yeah, I learned a lot and that I didn't know, and there's a lot of history with Dark Horse. It's an amazing story because they're a mid-sized publisher that has always had a certain level of integrity, but they got off the ground by Concrete was really their first big
Yeah.
title of note, and then
Yeah.
they get off the ground by just like
Black
licensing.
Cross, Black Cross, and Concrete were the two big.
That was an
hitters.
early one, but I don't think many people know about Black Cross. But Concrete stayed around for a while, and they're actually back now for like a reunion, for like some kind of redux.
Well, it's just Paul
Anyway,
Chadwick. It's just Paul Chadwick.
yeah, right. So Dark Horse really, I think, takes off and starts moving when they start licensing Star Wars, Predator, Alien, and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and they've been in the licensing game ever since.
Yep.
So that's why they became a target for corporate ownership and private equity.
Consumption.
Yeah, because the number of movies that have come out is significant, from original Dark Horse titles, and that's kind of like where comics is the playground, and movies is like the big cash out, and if you can get like a Men in Black, or if you can get like something like that, you can really have a payday. I think, like Hollywood production companies option something, you get a lot of money, or if they actually make something, you get it like you might get back end, you might get money in perpetuity. You never know. There's The Mask, and there's Men in Black, and there's Barbed Wire was a Dark Horse title, and and it doesn't even matter if the movie's good, right? Just a lot of money flying around. At least there was in that time period. But don't let me stop you. Let's let's look at the rest of the haul. You got the Thorn. Now,
So there was a lot of, well, there was enough black and white indie to pick up, and that was exactly what Dan and I ended up finding is the book. By the way, very few of these boxes, if maybe one or two that I had approached, were in any kind of sense of order. So you got really good at looking at the top of the box, and you could tell whether it was old or new comics. The pressing, that really thin, crisp pressing and stuff, or was there like just like hammered out like cigar butts looking tops, where the books had just been fingered
if
in
it's bright white paper, it's probably 90s Marvel and DC.
So that once that rhythm was going, it was just a matter too. And by the way, like, room packed, not very big, but room packed. So there had to have been 260, 50 to 60 people in there. Just really gone. People going through the people going through the box. There was only like 10 vendors.
Oh, really?
It's not that big, dude. It's not that big, but there's a shit ton of comics. There's over 30,000 comics there. That's what they're towing. So, but there also were books that I was picking up because it was $1. And you know what Jake says? If you buy it for $1, you can sell it for $1 down the road. So that was the mantra. I really didn't have any books that I was like, I lost that $1. So Book of Lore I knew nothing about. Die Cut, didn't even know that was what was going on when I opened the bag, went through it. Really good book. This is one I want to go deep into. Thick Buddy, 48 something pages, maybe 52. Really well done. Robotica with a K. This Archaea. I mean, that's the thing. Double size issue 1 to 2. That'll be one thing. Keanu Reeves is surprising the hell out of me with this Berserker without all the E's. Really wild comic. I actually read 2 of them, 3 of them.
That's Image, right?
Boom Studios.
Oh, Boom. Okay.
So, dude, if this comes out as a movie with him in it, it is gonna be bonkers. It'll be. Yeah. I will actually very, very much look forward to it because it's that old barbarian like time and age, but moving through time and coming kind of like into. As a matter of fact, let me just see something real here. Yeah. So the this is really kind of cool. No, this is not the one. Okay. Anyways, really, really great. So looking forward to actually, a lot of these tracking down more because I got, issue one, and 2. So next time I go down, which these are twice a year, the showrunner did not have a time, but he said, most definitely it'll probably be in like September, October of this coming year. Berserker Unbound, Jeff Lemire and Mike DiBidato Jr. I'm not a big modern head, but I do know names enough, and especially when it comes to like art and stuff. And Deodato is kind of like one of those guys where I'm like, damn, talk about a career and talk about like really maneuvering like styles and stuff. But definitely going to work on getting more of this. This was my prize. This was my surprise prize. Somebody, I think it was, because I said to Dan, I was like, didn't you review this comic? And he goes, no, I don't. What is it? And kind of flipped through and showed him. The coloring in this is one thing. The world is another thing. The story is really good. It was a 6-parter. This is issue 1. Once again, finding all these issue 1s. Can't remember who reviewed this comic. I have yet to go and search it out again and everything. But I remember when I saw it, it was one of those first few times. It's like 2-3 years ago too, because I think this is a 2020. Yeah, this was during COVID. And I was like, oh, dude, if I ever go to a comic book store or something like that, I'll pick it up. And man, whew, love it. So I'll be definitely actually, a couple of these titles, I'm going to probably just start getting issues off of mycomicshop.com for that. The second big one, about Godhead? Anubis Press?
No.
Oh my Lord. Volume freaking 1. Couldn't believe this thing. I know for a fact is over $8. I know for a fact because I have yet to pull the trigger in my mycomicshop.com account. Just because I get my other books up into the, budget range. And I'm like, oh, I got to take a couple out and I can't put any in. And this one just never gets in there. But I have other Anubis Press books. I'll give a really quick flash. Just amazing black and white outlaw style comics and story and everything. Just if you see Anubis Press, pick it up. It's amazing. Cover, don't know so much about, like, but whatever. Dan was like, Kurt, I got these for you. And I was like, you're thinking about me. There you go. So Cry Fee-Man, this is the same, this is just, the coloring is okay. I'm not too upset about it, but gosh, it was Ryuichi Ikigami. Yeah. He's done so many different books and stuff, but this is the same guy who wrote Lone Wolf and Cub, Kazuo Koike.
Okay.
Really great. If I found more, I would. I'm not going to try to think. He actually, at the same time, he's like, come on, Matt. He's like, come on over here real quick. I want to show you something. And he like had them all in the back. And it was like 17 Maya the Psy Girl. And I was like, oh, shit. But it was like, it started with 2, went to 3, went to 7, went to 8, went to 12, went to 55, went to, you know what I mean? So it was like it wasn't like any, I was like, and it was at the end of the day. So I was like, I'm pretty good at this point, but was still like, whoa, dude, that's a really sweet find. I remember being out of comics for a long time, and I was in Barnes and Nobles and just had one of those like wandering around days. Didn't want to go anywhere else or do anything. And I remember finding the reprints of Blade the Immortal, and I followed this because it was penciled when they first. I was like, whoa, they're publishing pencil comics now, and you want to talk about like an unsung hero in comic book manga making. Hiroaki, was it Samura? This is just, So this is 3 of 3 Call of the Worm. But I used to have the Tokaban, American Dark Horse Tokabans 1 through 5 or 6, and did get rid of them. And for a woman, but anyhow. So another Keanu Reeves Berserker. I don't think I went into this yet, but like I said, I am really excited about what do you call them? Contemporary comics, or I don't know. Jake, do you think Keanu Reeves making a Berserker and getting it published on Boom is a mainstream comic? Would you call that a mainstream comic?
Boom is a mid-level. They're not
mid-level.
Yeah,
they're not a big. So you wouldn't call it mid. You would still say it's like indie centric, indie adjacent.
Well,
is it?
It'll probably get a lot more attention than anything else that Boom's doing because you have a big A-list Hollywood name there. It probably it makes a big splash when there's a convention and these guys are sitting at tables because everyone's fawning over a big Hollywood star.
Right.
But we've seen this. Like we remember that comic we came across that the Game of Thrones actress was the. It was called Mom, MOM, and it was, yeah. So I came across like I think the whole run of those, but I didn't buy them because they were too expensive. But I picked up the one, and it's interesting. Sometimes you have like Ta-Nehisi Coates. Sometimes you have names from that are outside of the comic industry, doing some writing for the comics, and putting their name on it, whether they're really writing it or not, who knows? But I think the big question is it a good comic? I mean, is that supposed to be drawn like Keanu? Because this is really like a proving ground for a Hollywood pitch. Is that what's happening here?
I would assume so. I mean, but Keanu Reeves, I think, is just the auteur. I believe he is just so much in connection with his talents, most definitely interests, and those things really combine. I mean, because you've done the John Wick, the 47 Ronin movie. I'm due to watch that again, which will probably be like the 5th or 6th time. I remember going, really? Keanu Reeves is a samurai? Nah, man, that shit is just, and Keanu is like a third of the reason why I watch the movies. The first reason is just the cinematography is beautiful, but the story is on because they're riffing off of the original story, the 47 Ronin, which is, basically one of the greatest stories told next to the tale of Genji in Japan. So I'm definitely, and it's like the Japanese version of the closest to a Japanese sword and sorcery movie. Like I would put that like as the number one Japanese sword and sorcery movie. If there's somebody out there that has a better movie or just as good or something, you would say, I'm always looking for Japanese sword and sorcery movies. So I'm actually starting to lean into Chinese sorcery kung fu movies. I have not yet dipped the big toe in yet, but there might be one tonight that I watch and everything. But the super hot thing. But look what I got! Look what I got, Jake!
Thundercats. Well,
number
you got
one.
a very.
Isn't this worth like
They're all
$100?
memorable.
Isn't this worth like $103?
They're all
It's
memorable.
I'm taking it out of the bag. I was so like, I remember getting this, and then I walked around and found Dad, and I was like, Dad, I can go home now. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, I found the comic book I came to look for and everything, and it was on my little pull sheet I had.
Well, I got that in my 10-pack. Right?
I know. I just couldn't wait. Somebody,
Yeah.
I believe it was Batberg. He was the one that flipped through issue 1, and I was like on his YouTube channel, and I was totally like, yes, I got to get a copy of this. And it might have been Omar. Thank you very much. It might have been it might not have been Thundercats. It might not have been for Batberg. It would have no. He had done Commandy #1. So, anyways, but I got 2. I got Thundercats Apex 1. So, in all truth, there was like 8 or 9 copies of this, but 4 or 5 different covers, 8 or 9 copies of this, 4 or 5 covers. But it was only issue 1. Like there were no 2s, 3s, or 4s or anything. So that was a bit disappointing and everything. So.
And are the insides the same for both of those?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go through them. I want to keep these close, and like for the episodes moving forward, I do want to have my own little segment that I can break out and kind of like review, like my Thundercat haul or my Keanu Reeves obsession now with Berserker. So that was that. Barbaric, I think you gave me Barbaric 1 when we were at IC3.
Yep.
When we were,
yeah, had good art.
Really super awesome. So I saw 3. I need 2. So, there you go. Barbarella. It's an issue 2. But I always loved Joseph Michael Lisner's art and Barbarella. So I had not really found anything.
That's brand new stuff inside.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's not
came out.
It's not the DeForest. It's not like a DeForest.
They came out a long time ago as a comic. So
yeah. 60s.
Yeah.
I have this already, but I just have to keep buying Sword and Sorcery, like literally the comic. So, and this is number 5, I believe.
Is that
Kaluta? Huh?
That Kaluta?
Yeah. Is it Kaluta? I think it is. No, this is Walter Simonson.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was on that.
This is like early 70s. This is probably one of his like first things he worked on.
I did not know he was on that.
So yeah, and this story is one of my favorites from this, but this will also be like a comic that down the road I'll like grab and like, oh, you don't know about, Sword and Sorcery comics?
Is that I think they were adapting the Grey Mouser and
yes, and Fafard. Yeah, that's Fritz Lieber. Yeah, this is foundational sword and sorcery story character brought into, and it was a complete competitive move by DC for the success, the mounting unbelievable success Roy Thomas was getting with licensing Conan the Barbarian, Cimmerian from the Howard estate, Glenlord. So this was another one handed to me by Dan, and he kind of giggled, and I snatched it, and I said, "Don't ever snicker at Naza." All right, Stone Age warrior. I'm really gonna have to take some time with this, because this is like I would place this in like a supportive, it's full color, but Power Comics place, like not maybe no yeah, Power Comics place. And I've had the issues digitally, and many times go back because this character is kind of bonky. Sam Glanzman, I believe, is the artist on this, and I love his work. So another reasons I picked up this. And look what else I got.
So 15 center.
I bought this for you.
That looks like John Severin, maybe.
I don't know who it is. It's yeah, it is. Good call. Good call. But I figured at its 15 cent, this would be Silver Age, right?
Yeah, that was the army comics,
Yeah.
war comics. That was definitely a genre back then that they were trying to cash in on. DC had Sergeant Rock with Joe Kubert, and Marvel had Sergeant Fury with Marie and John Severin working on that book, I believe.
Yeah. I thought you'd dig this. So this is going to go in your drawer when we exchange drawers. When we see each other next.
Okay.
So, Two tour. I mean, once again, like,
speaking of Kubert,
Joe Kubert, Cavemen. Oh, how do you say it? Number 1 and number 2
for $1, huh?
Yeah, baby. How do you say no to that?
How do those end up in the dollar box? I guess.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know. Some drunken Fajascos.
Yeah.
No, these are pretty decent. I mean, if this is definitely a reader copy. This number 1 though.
Yeah.
I bet you if I got this slap, not doing it, not slapping anything. No, this was the only fight I got into. And when I say fight, it was humorous. We went and took a break at like 11:15. So we just went outside, got some fresh air, Dan and I. And then when we came back in, we came in from the other side. So we'd have a kind of a fresh outlook on boxes. First boxes I started hitting, which was from the show promoter. I see this, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. So I go through and I get my books, and this is on the top. And I just paid for the comics, and I turn around, and this guy's standing there, and he goes, oh, man, you got the girl from Uncle. And I was like, yep. And then I try to move around him, and he's like, but you got the girl from Uncle. And I go, yes, I did. I so badly wanted to say, you want to give me $2 for it? But he probably would have. So I was just like, yeah. I ignored the guy. But I could see how beat red his face was, and frustrated with himself having not picked it up. Because these are great comics. I mean, come on. This is great. And I love female spy 60s stories. Gardner Fox had 25 books he wrote for Eve Drum, Lady of Lust. So not that this is lusty at all, because it's based on the
no, but that guy that you met, he saw this on TV when he was just like
no
11.
No. This guy was like half my age, so he was no older than 30. I was just like, but like,
He must have
uh,
saw it on the retro tube then.
I don't know what is. I wasn't gonna have a conversation with him, but I just knew immediately like this guy was just,
I'll get gold keys, for $1. Sure.
hell yeah. I mean, but I could tell he was just absolutely, um,
Pissed.
yeah, but he was doing it in such an awkward way. Like he just kept repeating himself. Oh, you got that? Like, yes, I did. Can I just keep going? All right, thank you.
Yeah. Well, if
So
he's half your age, then he's probably one of these socially awkward
not why would you say that, Jake?
because they grow up on screens and they don't know how to interface with people.
Exactly. So it was like, I'm not really worried about you, bro. You know what I mean? And it was like don't you feel bad enough for me to just give it to me kind of like whiny thing and stuff. So I was like, whatever, dude. So
Yeah, go
we're
on
totally
eBay. Yeah.
yeah. But still good time. Southern Nights, never heard of it. Love the art.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. Love it.
Is
So
that a guy that worked for AC sometimes
it
too?
says Prost, Propst.
I think he was like a
But that's a cover.
John Byrne wannabe, right?
Yeah, I guess so. 1986, though. And
Yeah.
it was published by Comics Interview magazine.
Yeah, that's weird.
Isn't it? That was one of the major reasons I picked it up. Next to this fantasy I want.
Was that Steranko's magazine?
No. He had media, comics media.
Okay.
Media something? Anyways, no, it wasn't. No, but they were definitely, I guess like a buyer's manual or industry trade industry type of thing and stuff. But I got a claw. Speaking of claw, number 3,
Ernie Chan.
Claw the unconquered.
There was 2 artists. I think they were both from the Philippines. One was Ernie Chan, and the other was Ernie Chua.
No, same person.
Oh, that's the same person?
Yeah, there was some weird mix-up in how people got paid, and they had to keep submitting. The guys from the Philippines, I think the story is like they lost his records, and so when he went to go get paid, he had given them his real name, which is Chua. The first name he gave them was Chan.
Oh.
And then when it then came back in cycling, there was like one set of people called him Ernie Chan, and the other set of people. At least that's what I've heard in like some YouTube video spewing, not from him, or the family, but that was the story I heard. But they are the same person.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the Claw, that's like they couldn't get Conan, so they made their own Barbarian.
And a really dark character, like not playing around, like, and then it was rebooted by Dynamite like 10 years ago, and it just once again it becomes this sensitivity type thing where it's applied to sword and sorcery genre, and you just mess it up. I mean, this guy's like a bandit and a killer and a mercenary, all this kind of stuff, and then he gets caught by his like a gang or whatever and everything, and they're like, dude, we're gonna make you suffer, and cut his hand off. He's crucified. They cut his hand off, and then through some sorcery, right, he gets this gauntlet, this demon gauntlet, and that doesn't like make his life and situation any better, but yeah, I think a very, very unappreciated and mistreated sword and sorcery character. There's a whole unpublished issue out there I found online. I saved all the pages. Somebody posted it on like not Tumblr, Blogger years ago. And I've always been like, ooh, maybe I should ink my own version of it. But I think they reprinted it and inked it and colored it with with Dynamite. So
yeah, Claw the Unconquered.
And North Star will always pick up a North Star. It's a
think I
Kelly
got that.
Jones cover.
Yeah, I think I got that. Who's doing the insides?
Kyle Holtz,
Yep.
Raphael Nieves. Don't know. Haven't really gone through it. Now this was like these two books were together, and
Bacchus.
yeah, but I was
it's a
like,
big graphic novel.
yeah, I was like, wow, I've never seen this before. Really dig it. Really dig it. So just grabbed them. I haven't even really gone through them. What are they?
Yeah,
99s.
That's a big collected trade paperback
Yeah.
of that, and I think
This.
Eddie Campbell might have been the guy that also did From Hell.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But man, look at this. Fantastic. So this might actually be one of those I want more. Here it is. This is where Dan leaves me. As soon as I showed him, like this was like within the first 5, maybe 10 minutes, maybe not even 10, like close to 5 minutes. I was like, hey, check this out, Dan. And he's like, I'm leaving. Because I basically found what was ever in those boxes he thought. But I mean, come on. 2 Silver Wolf grips for $1 a piece.
And then
Come on.
Are those
Come
Tim
on.
Brugel?
I haven't looked into them, but this is number 2 and number 3. So I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
I remember having these back in the day.
Yeah, it might be both Vigil Boys. We'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I do believe I needed this one. So this is the second volume or book 2 limited, whatever it is. It's number 1. Yeah, number 1, The Adventurers from Adventure Comics. Really badass cover, man. Really sweet shit. So,
and I believe it's black and white inside, and pretty good pen and ink stuff inside.
Oh yeah, we'll find out. But Nexus, full color.
Rude.
It was number 1. I was like, I've never seen this before. But it's Baron Rude, Capital Publications, 1983.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
indie.
okay.
Very early indie.
All right. Love the colors. That was one of the big reasons next to just Nexus Steve Rude. Always going after.
Painstakingly colored in those days.
Oh yeah. Some more Skimmadar. These are on my list. These are fun.
Are those adult only?
As we say, for adults only. Right. I'm gonna randomly show a page, and we'll see if it's boing. It's violence. But look at this, man.
Yeah.
It's freaking amazing. Duotone.
Yeah.
Duotone pages. What are you saying, man? I'm gonna flip this one, see if we get any naughty bits. No. Duotone though. Holy moly. What an amazing. Bam. Cat Claw. You have a Cat Claw, don't you? I think you wrote it.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Yeah. All right, and then last one. Always love the.
I don't have that one.
Horobi.
Yeah.
I just love the graphic design of this comic. I have no idea what the hell the story is about, but just really.
Yeah, those are
cool.
I think those are translations, right?
Yeah, it's Viz.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty darn cool. Like I love this is the kind of stuff I love. Like when they do these just moments where they're just like, look at that. Like that's for $1 I would pay just for this page. I mean, this is just great graphics. I mean, building blowing up and all this. Beautiful. And then this like alien tech comes in, dude on fire. Great stuff. Look at that, man. Cool as heck. So that is the Chud haul from March 2026. I'll be cutting this out and adding it to the indie Comics That Influence, excuse me. but I will, like I said, keep the stack near me. I'll grab a couple books, and when I get my time, I will, crack them open and do a little deep dive on them because there's about, I don't know, like 5 or 6 of them. I've got more than maybe 2 issues. It'd be just kind of fun to dig into, especially the. I'll grab my number 1 when I go with this one, but definitely Thundercats, definitely Berserker. I don't think these are any kind of like thing. Definitely Godhead, definitely Origins. Maybe this Berserker Unbound. Definitely Robotica. This was good. This is Dark One ish art.
Look at that.
Is that what it is? Oh, I don't see Dark One's name in this. I think his real name is Jeffrey Jason. Nope, here it is. I see him, Dark One. That's not this. That's this. So he did. Damn it! What's the book? It's this female. God, I love this stuff. I actually reached out to him years ago, wanting to know where he was at and everything like that. And he was like, I'm done with all that. I think it was a tattoo artist or something.
Yeah.
But great stuff. Of course, Thorn. And then these are just fun for the pure, fact about.
While you go hunting and see if you get a good segment in there, like a good 8-pager.
Yeah. We'll just check it all out and everything. But that is my Chud haul. Thank you very much.
There you go, folks. And Chud is comic haul $4, under $1.
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking at the convention schedule. We briefly spoke about it on Saturday. And I'm starting to like really zero in on these July and August cons.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll apply.
I've lost your picture, my man. What happened to your picture?
Oh, I don't know.
Here, hold on a second. I got to jump out real quick.
I thought I was going to jump out. I wonder if they're censoring me because I have an expletive on the page. And I was just thinking, like, what am I going to do here? I think I want to make this
You okay? What's going on over there? No picture, man?
I wonder if they're censoring because I have a big F word here on the screen.
What? Nobody's censoring you.
Nobody's censoring? No.
Who would censor you?
Why did my picture go out and my voice?
I don't know.
I think I'm gonna make it. Who the flick is she? Who the flick is she? Flark? What did I say before? Flark? Flick? Flark?
Flarkin, flickin,
Yeah.
flugin.
Let's try to avoid the F word if we can. I'm gonna make it a flark. Flark.
So when you change it to flark, it'll let you show your camera again?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the FBI, if it's the CIA, the NSA. I don't know. I did.
Or just malfunction of your camera.
I'm sure the camera's fine. It's something where it got disconnected from the feed.
Yeah. You tripped some button. Maybe that's what happened. See if you have your camera off down at the tray below.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. Well,
I did.
Okay.
I did hear a news story about this. Well, it says teacher, but then when you click on the actual article, it's like a student teacher. But they said that a teacher got arrested in school because she had posted pictures of students, and she was on Snapchat, and she was kidding around with her boyfriend, and like the kid did something obnoxious, and she said, "Should I shoot him?"
Holy shit!
And she was just totally kidding around, like, oh, like
that's some poor choice in
Well, it's pretty dumb.
Kidding.
But if you trust the person that you're sending it to, that you're only kidding around and they'll never show it to anybody, then you're okay. But it turns out that either Snapchat or the school's internet, filtering
Probably
software.
school.
I hope so. I hope it's not Snapchat, but they intercepted it. The FBI got a flag, and they contacted local cops. They picked her up, and she had to spend the night in jail. And they investigated, and it turned out it was just a stupid comment, just sarcastic, completely 100% benign. She sent it to her boyfriend and one other person in a group chat on Snapchat, and the government is able to see it somehow, or maybe the school sent it to the government or whatever. But just be aware that anything that you say now might be flagged, based on the content by the internet provider, if not the application itself.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think you're sending something private on Snapchat, like "let's kill her," don't mess around like that. It's like joking around on a plane, like, "Oh yeah, here's a bomb, sure." No, don't say that. You're gonna stop the plane for 100 people. For 200 people, you're gonna have a 5-hour delay now. Don't do it. Joke around when you get home. So good example of and that's why I was wondering. So I'm gonna go out and come back. I'm just gonna hit refresh.
Sure.
All right, let's see if it's all fine. Reload.
Now you can watch me work full screen. How exciting. Doing this is water soluble graphite that I scratch in this there's sandpaper at the bottom, tape down, and then I just kind of rub it. I got to change the sandpaper out. But oh boy, I just got my shirt all dirty. But then all I do is get a big old dribble of water. And then I do kind of work directional. You see me kind of go like this way, but I'll come back and, but I really like kind of how things are left sometimes. I just love this. I do this because it reminds me of it's like a poor man or a cheap man, a cheat man's duo shade board, which I heard is like $75 a board. Because if I could afford that board, I would only work on that board. So I just love duo shade. I just love it. I think it all comes from Ronin? Frank Miller's Ronin was done with that. Is that right? I think so. I know it was a comic, and I just loved it so. All right. And then I put it in a drying tray, bunch of towels, and then stack comics on top of it. All right. Well, let's let Cousin Jake back in. Maybe he has a camera now. His tired camera. Yay! He's back with a visual.
All right, we're back in business here.
Back in business.
So I finished the first page of lettering. We have to make these kind of decisions. We have to take a look at what we did before, because I think we were doing all kinds of gray tones in the letters and in the word balloons, right? So we got to have that matching.
You're gonna have to use the teaser as a reference.
Yeah,
there's also jagged balloons. I believe we have our narration, but I think that was only for the announcer. And I think by now the announcer's dead, so I don't believe we need that. But if
the announcer's not dead.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was Whoppy. He's not Whoppy.
No, Whoppy is the venue
Promoter.
owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I have finished another 2 pages, and just so everybody is on track with the progress of issue 1 of Turbo Pit Fighter. I have next Sunday will be the last 2 pages, 27, and 28. We'll go through the same process as I've been doing for the last 4 weeks, which means then once I have the pages in this form, I can then just start doing my black and white texture toning, suppressing things and then bringing things forward. Also adding textures and stuff like that. I would say, and I'm going to put it out there and on myself, today is the 15th. I would say 1 month from now, I will be completed with Turbo Pit Fighter #1 inking.
Wow. Okay. I'm just seeing some of these pages for the first time. The inks for the first time.
Oh God.
Yeah. What's that?
Well, it's been a while. That's the thing we have to constantly remind ourselves is we took a pretty hefty time away from these pages or the stories themselves because we had Ken Landgraf, which if you want me to, I can show off the Crom Ken 6-pager.
Speaking of Ken
Landgraf and Alex Turbin, Mr. Alex Turbin, he did 11 pagers. So,
right, and so it's been like forever figuring out how to we're gonna letter it, but we got into the quickest mode, which is just I'm just dragging the letters from another page.
Now, are you going to do that with the last 10 pages? Is that how you want to go about it? Or do you want me to give you some pages like I've done with the last 6 pages where you can drag?
Yeah, the quickest way is just dragging the letters over from another page. Yeah.
So you're basically just building your own font from my hand lettering.
Yeah,
we're constantly going back and getting those
yeah, we just grab page 1. We get each letter. We drag it over, and it's much quicker. Just going over, like I have to computer letter it so that we can get all the spacing and everything done. But once we have that, we can just go over just drag and drop, just one at a time. It's much quicker.
All right.
But and it'll match because it's dragging the letters that we've already used. One thing I'm seeing a lot of, I don't know if you're changing your inking sensibilities at all, but I mentioned like the Scrabble. I'm not seeing it on this panel, but I saw it on some others. But I always say that if you're going back and forth making lines, it doesn't take any more time to pick up the pen in between the lines so that they're not connected like a zigzag. Actually, I'm not seeing it on this example here. So it was more the last page, but I was wondering if you were confusing your inking style for a different project with this one. It's hard to keep track if we're bouncing all round and forth.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting when I'm inking issue 2.
Right. Well, yeah, because issue 2, like we're it's a learning process, but we're also hopefully we're getting more streamlined, right, in the process.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a very experimental person, so a lot of things. Not only with these pages, but what I've been doing with Crom helps inform me either how to get to things quicker in the way that I see it in my mind, or amplify some effect that I want to see, by said technique and approach. So
Yeah, and we're going to have to really take a look at the first print proof, because some of these pages look super dark, but that doesn't mean they're going to print that way.
correct.
You never know until you get the printed piece.
Oh, speaking of printing,
Yeah.
are you familiar with Comic Wellspring?
Yes.
Okay.
used
Have
to
you
get ads for
investigated
them.
them? Have you investigated them?
I used to get these like infomercial ads in my feed all the time about that they're this printing place, but they also showcase artists. Is that the gimmick there?
I'm more interested in the printing part of it. There was something that led me there where I was being informed that they can also promote your book on website or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe because I don't know if you ever heard of Kablam. I don't know if Kablam was actually, is Kablam still around? But I used Kablam a while back, and they actually do have. No, they do. Wow, they're still around. So Kablam, you can set your book up on their website, and then people can buy one copy, and then it's printed and in. So it's a print on demand, to the customer base. Now the problem is that if you're in Japan and you want a copy, then you're going to have to pay Japanese, shipping to Japan. It's not like I have with Lulu, which, there's a facility in Japan that you're only paying for internalized Japanese shipping rate. But I am doing some investigating. The problem with Comics Wellspring right now in verse 2, Mixum, is that you have to buy 20 copies from Comics Wellspring. They don't do a one copy comic.
But who's not getting 20 copies? Come on.
No. But are you going to buy 20 copies of a proof?
Oh, you mean you're talking about an end user? Oh, a print proof should be one copy. Yeah.
Okay, but my point is also we should do like a couple of printings from different. We should try to do as many proofs from different places, I think, so we can kind of get an idea of judgment on the kind of quality or just the bells and whistles that kind of come through with.
But when it comes to light and dark, you get a proof and then you compensate, right? Because that's how it's going to print on that printer. So if you say, all right, it's too dark on that printer, so let's send him some pages that are lighter. Lighten up the pages.
Lighten up, Phil.
Right?
Lighten up.
But if you, or you can go to a different printer. It might be darker, lighter, but you just want to, like, whatever it is, you just want to keep it the same.
Well, there's also cost. Let's not, and getting price breaks. I mean, we have a lot to review in the way of getting this book to be released to the world, the public, and all of that. So I just am bringing it up as I did the question whether you were familiar with it, in order for you to maybe spend some time, maybe even come up with a wish list, of like places you would like to print with.
I don't know, like, the one, maybe the first printing should just be a 1.0, and then we'll make some adjustments,
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
I like in the old days, I had always figured, well, we gotta do offset, because we're gonna get at least 300 copies, and that's a whole different ball of wax. It'll last longer, potentially. It looks more traditional, blah blah blah. There's all these different reasons, but
sure.
in the interim, like, the quick printing has taken over the industry, so maybe we'll have to see. Also, going overseas now is not the advantage that it once was because of the tariffs.
Right.
And that comes and goes. So yeah, we'll see, but we don't have to worry about it just yet. We are gonna be doing Do Magazine #1 sooner, but that's probably not going to be as many copies. And I guess we're probably looking more like a year from now for Turbo #1, right?
I don't know. I mean,
Could be.
maybe. I mean, it's definitely a logical way of looking at it. It does give a lot of breath room, but once Doom Mags is to rest, or in the wild, we're all hands on Turbo Pit Fighter #1. So I'm not like, I don't know. I still think the toughest part of our process is, the you having the majority of responsibility for finishing the pages, I guess, is kind of what it is. I'm inking them. I'm not finishing them because you have the lettering, and then we're going to have like some layout sessions there, but that's pretty much all on your hands. I've already supplied the illustrations for those first pages of info, zine style, but yeah, I mean, like you said, we're gonna have to just keep ourselves in check of reality, because we're only 3 hours every Sunday, and we're coming to the end of today's episode.
Broadcast.
So
Yep.
really exciting day, man. I just love hanging for 3 hours straight. We get so much done. I mean, we even got to talk to Batmerk, and got a whole bunch of people in the. At one point, when I was flipping through all the comics, there was like 9 people in the
Really?
on the
Well,
live stream.
let's validate some of these comments here. We got
Yes, please.
Saboteur. Jake, I want to see your crappy art as a kid. Come on, LOL. I will show it. I grabbed the wrong book. It's downstairs. I'll bring it out
next week.
I'll try to find it by next week, but stay tuned. Kung Fu. I see. Vampire Hookers. We spoke about that movie. We have Omer Glitch, who is doing a book called Glitch. So want to plug that. Do you guys have regular jobs and make comics on the side, or do you dudes do comics full time? Yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm an art teacher in the city, so I'm working full time except for the summer. We have the link to the Kickstarter for Hell War. I'm working on a fan art Hell War piece. I don't know if those guys know each other.
Yeah,
like a record album size. Super awesome. What's up, Bat? Bat and Sab are good buds of mine. Oh, they're all friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been hanging over at, I think it's on Omar's, Omar Glitch's YouTube live streaming. I've been over there occasionally for a bit of time. Yeah, I mean, there's all these great pockets of great creators, hanging and doing their thing. I'm just so excited that we've got them over here with us on a Sunday morning afternoon. So
yeah, cool. What else? We have it says Bad Religion is a great bank. I think they meant band. But Bad Religion, yeah, Black Mask Comics is owned by or run by the Bad Religion guy. Who knew? 100% Indie Boom, the Hell Chat. Thanks, Kurt, Jake, Omar, and Saboteur. I appreciate it. Saboteur says, we need to create more EMPs, not nukes, to take out all the Skynet robots. Yeah, electromagnetic pulses. We're learning more about that. And Kurt, oh yeah, God, I forgot to mention this. I guess I didn't put it on the social media, but there was a 60 minutes. Maybe we'll talk about this more next week, but I'll just kind of tease it. There was a 60 minutes segment this past week that's pretty eye-popping. You remember that whole thing called the Havana Syndrome, where people were getting like incredible headaches, and they were all like government, workers and FBI
Yeah.
workers and State Department officials and everything.
Yeah.
And they all claimed that it was a weapon from a foreign agent, and the government was always denying it. Well, that whole thing just got blown up because 60 Minutes just aired multiple whistleblowers, and they say that the government is still not acknowledging that it was foreign attacks, but at the same time, 60 Minutes has affidavits from leakers within the Department of Homeland Security that are reporting that the U.S. government, the DHS, had undercover agents go on the black market and buy the weapon from a Russian mob, Russian underground, source for $15 million. And they've been testing the weapon for over a year, and that it goes through walls and it goes through glass, and it's the size of a backpack. And it's a microwave, kind of like direct.
Yeah, Salvatore's bringing it up. It's the one they used in Venezuela.
Right. Well, it was Cuba, it was Havana, and then they used it
most recently. Yeah, when
recently.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Right. I don't know if the U.S. is operationalizing this weapon.
Yes, that's what they did. They pulsated in there to basically stun everybody. And then they were able to maneuver around without basically pulling a full Chuck Norris Delta force and killing everybody. They just had to get to, grabbing Maduro and then helicoptering him out of there. But that weapon was used in the Venezuelan abstraction of Maduro. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I'm learning. And in the 60 Minutes report, they just say that the U.S. has been testing the weapon for about a year. And,
they just did it in Venezuela. There's no better test. There's no better test than the real thing, baby.
Right. Well, I've known for a long time that we have operationalized this other system that's mounted on a giant truck called active denial system. And they use that in Iraq whenever there was a crowd forming. And it's just like a microwave that heats up your body unless you jump out of the way. By the way, folks, if you're ever unlucky enough to feel like you're being the victim of a Havana syndrome attack, run away, put some distance, in a way.
Yeah, get out of there.
Don't just stay there. Right, exactly. Right.
Just get out of there.
But so this is new because 60 Minutes always likes to end on a dramatic note with the ticker sound, but they were like, if the U.S. government was able to buy this off Russian organized crime, then who else has it? And it's completely silent, undetectable. The only way that it was being used is by the symptoms of the victim. So another scary chapter unfolds in warfare and technology, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it sounds like I'm just learning that the U.S. has already moved from experimentation to operationalizing
implementation.
I did not know that. I gotta look that up as soon as we get off.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start closing this out. Gosh, I really, other than thanking everybody that came by, you see the comments. Salvatore said, yeah, we all hang out together. So on each other's channels. So I cannot express more joy in not only hearing that, but going over to other places on YouTube and experiencing that. Because I really do believe the secret moving forward as a creative is to really either build the community, like I'm doing with Community, but it's just, with the Crom the Barbarian website and the Crom Anthology. But I'm slowly becoming a member in that building process. In other words, there's people coming in and they're sort of implementing things. They're coming up with ideas. And that's great. But just the idea of also jumping over onto other channels, and today was a really great experiment, which was a success in my feeling, where we just really wanted to get Bat Merc to come in and promote himself, because he was in a work situation, and that can be frustrating, but was able to jump in and stay longer than was anticipated, which was even a greater amount of joy to have that going. But yeah, I mean, the more of us using these technologies, I think in a community building way, has a greater sense of longevity, as long as we don't, exploit them. You know what I mean? Like, start selling vitamins or magazine subscriptions, or all this other kind of crap. I went on I follow this one gal who's in Australia and is a painter, and she I don't know what her situation is totally, though she's very like open about it. But she did like an update coming back from being in Italy for 4 months at a proper Italian school of the arts, getting that core education, and stopped in Turkey with her boyfriend, which was only like it was like a 10-minute video, but like twice had like sponsors for the video, which I think is great and everything, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Is it really that necessary? It probably is for her bank account, but I think to keep it as pure.
Yeah,
Talk without.
Yesterday when so by the way, for all you guys listening, if you ever want to jump up on my Substack when I'm live, just feel free. I can just hit a button and just add somebody, as long as you have a Substack. But yeah, I was talking to ChatGPT yesterday, and on the air, and because like I really try to like bust its chops and find out like all this stuff. No, seriously, like there's this new article out about when you're talking to a chatbot, there's a third person in the room, and it is the kind of like this directive guide that the robot has, and it's editorializing everything, and everything's designed for the profit of the company, and a really interesting article. And it's the kind of stuff like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing with the chatbot forever, is I've been trying to test the boundaries of what it can and can't tell you, about who's listening, and what the feedback is, and what the directive is, and if they're allowed to, comment on something honestly, or, like, so I was saying, like, good example came up, and it was like, they were talking about, oh, you can go on Patreon, and you could, build your audience and charge money. And I was like, how come you mentioned Patreon right now, but you didn't mention any of Patreon's competitors, right? Like, you just gave a pretty nice plug to Patreon. That's a commercial editorialization, whether you have a financial arrangement with them or not. And they're like, oh yeah, so there's all these other things besides Patreon. And then it was pretty interesting, because they said they have these other platforms where you could go live stream. I didn't know about, and there's a little tip jar there, or the like, it sounds like they have it set up to be a little more convenient for people, and they have it where you can do crypto, and you could just like say, there's also like buymeacoffee.com and all these other sites. And I'm just wondering, like, why we can't have this open market of creators where maybe they're charging to be on their stream, or maybe they're charging for something that you get sent in the mail, or maybe something else. So, interesting conversation. And I heard all about these products. One of them was called like Rofi or Loci or whatever. And apparently there are all these competitors for Patreon, that who knew. But yeah, these are the kind of things that you find out about just by word of mouth and hearing what other people are using, maybe trying them out yourselves. And I really didn't. I really don't think I want to go on and try to charge for just me live streaming, right? Or at least not right now. But
So can I just kind of shed some like reality light on you?
yeah,
Because I've been through this, and it's unless you are really offering something of a, and when I say a grand scale, you have thousands of people already following you, and you have hundreds of those people that just really, really want to hear from you or see what you're doing. We are not even in the same game when it gets down there. And this is my personal feeling, is that and it was what I was experiencing, so I stopped doing it, is a lot of it comes across as whining, in the way of like, oh, I have a Patreon, why aren't you supporting me on it? And I'm creating, why aren't you supporting me at my and it's like, especially when you're an artist and basically your base of audience are other artists, you're just in a what I call the $20 loop. You could sell something to somebody for $20 and then 6 months later buy something from them for $20. You really got to be like amplifying yourself to thousands of people on a daily basis and having hundreds of people, really wanting to have what it is you're giving, then having tip jars and Patreons and sponsors and stuff become conclusive to monetary gain. But until that happens, just in my opinion, it comes across as just ignorable and, kind of just sympathetic. And it's just not a proper way of monetizing
yeah. I mean,
creative experience. It's just
if you want people to be aware of you, you got to build that up and
make a great comic book, sell it affordably, and give international rates. In other words, use Amazon, use Lulu.com, use print on demand. If you have a fan base in Brazil, try to find a fan that will help you connect something going on. I have one in Germany. I have one I'm working on in Chile right now. You really got to do a lot of work when it comes to monetizing. And it's the huge difference between enjoying something and doing it, as we've talked before, is almost like therapeutic. And I always say, treasure it, protect it. Don't let anything else leak into it, because the moment you transition it over to monetization, it's a job and you're the boss and you're the only one you can complain to.
right. And but there's also a fine line between hanging out with your friends and using social media tools and
charging them.
Right.
Hanging out your friends and charging them $1 to come in and watch you do what you do every week. That sounds weird.
Right. I mean, it's a really good question about I think the way this came up was because when I tried to make a live on Instagram, and Instagram reminded me, no, you only have privileges of going live when you have 1,000 followers.
Yep.
And I thought I knew that already, but I don't know why they're telling me that again. But okay. So, I think I mentioned that, and then the ChatGPT, was like, well, you can go on Patreon, you can do all this stuff. And I was like, I'm not even trying to charge. I'm looking at Substack because it's free.
Yep.
And, and I think it's a great compromise between the platform and the people, because you can communicate with people, and and you do have to do like some work to build that up. Oh, follow me, I'll follow you, right? But but meanwhile, here you can be drawing and hanging out with other people, and that is the great part of the technology.
Yep. Yes, I agree with
the
you.
other people can be drawing, you could be drawing, and and you're not in isolation if you have people in common in some kind of genre or some kind of hobby or whatever. So
well, also too, like we did for Batmerk, just echo the signal that somebody else that you're loosely associated in our indie comics has a Kickstarter. I mean, that's super huge. I mean, we'll get we'll get around 100 views for this video. Not everybody's going to watch 3 hours. A lot of people, I think, like use us as background noise and static, because we're in like a playthrough. They might have like 6 hours of work and that they want to just hear some people talking comics to keep them motivated and stuff. But, I just find it to be, the best and healthiest way of moving forward and maintaining some consistency, because the biggest thing you do not want to do is rely financially on a website unless it's your website. If it is not your website, it is not your money, it's not your content, it's not yours. The only reason I love, and I do use the word love, YouTube, is for all the bells and whistles it has, especially for holding video, large formatted video, long running formatted video, because I'm going to start with Crom the Barbarian on YouTube, but I'm going to be using their private feature, or the unlisted feature, if you will, and run videos where you can only watch them on cromthebarbarian.com. And there's going to be a big reveal coming, which is, just so I can do my promo before we leave here, is my other project is Crom the Barbarian. Crom Anthology #2 is in the works. The mock-up, this is the mock-up for issue 1, but that is at the printer. As soon as I have that, it will go on sale. It'll be used as a guide, as this one was, in getting the book accomplished and curated down to 200 pages. But once the real deal is there, this goes along. I sold 11 copies last year when I did this, and I did not expect it, but found that I do have a really good group of people over there in the community. And at $25, not, that's including the printing and everything, but that was 11 copies, and there's only 13 printed. So I got 2, like I'm getting now with Crom Anthology #2. It's there, but I will be doing a video a week before I show the mock-up on my Crom the Barbarian, and there'll be a severe like coupon, if you will, in order to get a copy for a very limited time, which is just basically the coupon is going to be getting the book at cost. So that's something that I'm really, really excited about seeing going forward. But Jake, let these people get back to reading comics and making them. Of course, you can get a hold of our Turbo teaser, which will go away once Turbo Pit Fighter is out there. There's also a PDF you can get a hold of, but it's the first 12 pages. We have the next 6 pages appearing in Doom Magazine End of the World Anthology. We seem to be months away from completion. But other than that, Jake, take us out.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. You can check out our other tabs on YouTube. We have the Indie Creator Exchange, where we have lots of fun interviews with other indie creators such as ourselves and other people in the game. And you can look at our flip throughs on Comics and Influence, all on our YouTube landing page. Just Google Turbo Pit Fighter or put Turbo Pit Fighter in YouTube, and you'll find it all there. I'm going to go live on Substack in a little while. Just going to take a quick 15-20 minute break and go live and just kind of finish up the work that I'm doing here for the weekend. And if you want to check that out, just go to the Doom Mags Substack, which is substack.com/doommags or doommags.substack.com. I don't know. Just put Doom Mags in Google, for crying out loud. But other than that, see you guys back here next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Try to draw regularly. And if it helps you to listen to us while you're drawing, great. Let's get stuff done on the weekend. If we're all day job people, then when else are we going to do it if not on a Sunday? So we'll see you back here 10 a.m. And Kurt, I'll check you out when I see you.
That's right. I'll see you next Sunday, Jake.
Peace.